Okay, here we go. Everything's ready to rock, and I'll count us in 3, 2, 1. You can say a lot of things about Master Chief, but if he were here right now, he'd highly recommend signing up for the CORE Patreon at patreon.com/core show. We can't let the Covenant win, can we? That's patreon.com/core show. I'm muted. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CORE. This is CORE, where I was silent for 5 seconds there. I'm Scott Johnson. Beau Schwartz is here. John Jagger is out. He's out. You might
he's
say,
out again.
Yeah, he was out last week because he was sick. This week he's on vacation with his family. I hope he's feeling better, so he's enjoying his vacation. It's hard to say, but he's they're doing the tour of all the big parks, SeaWorld and Disneyland and who knows what all else. But yeah, he'll come back and regale us with stories.
I don't.
Yeah.
But they'd say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So we'll be very fond of John next week.
Oh, we'll never be more fond than we will be next week.
I'm sure we'll get a good story or two.
Yeah, I agree. I hope so. Like, he's not one for enjoying. Usually he doesn't really enjoy the...
He's got to be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, people, they're hit and miss something with the things they get up to.
Yeah, people aren't always reliable.
When you're around a lot of them. So
yeah, it's also this time of year. There's a lot more people going because they go in the winter to try to, avoid the rushes and the whatnots. We tried to do that once. We went in November because someone told me November was a really good time to go, and they were wrong. It was terrible. It was absolutely.
Yeah, everyone
packed.
said that probably.
Yeah. And
in fact, I think it's probably Big Amusement Park that spreads those rumors.
Probably. Oh, good point. Good point. Hadn't thought of that. It's Big Disney doing that because we went and it was I've never been it was so packed. It was more packed than the time I went in the summer. So I don't know what they were talking about, but
it's one of those things, you're like, oh man, I hope this bet pays off.
Yeah.
Because it's,
you
don't really know until you try it once, right? And then you're like, oh shit, it's actually busy.
You ever have one of those pineapple, what are they called? Oh, someone in the chat room will say it. The pineapple. They're Dole Whips. You ever have a Dole Whip? You ever do that?
I know what a Dole is. They do the canned fruits here.
Oh yeah. Dude.
What's a Dole Whip?
A Dole Whip is basically ice cream. Well, it's Dole pineapple flavored ice cream.
No, never had this.
So good. It's so good. When we were all there for Vegas, for one of the BlizzCons or another, we should have gone over there and grabbed that because they're fantastic.
You just grab a Dole Whip.
Yeah.
Can you not get them at like a Dole Whip stand?
No, but there are places that fake it all the time, so you can get a pretty good one at your local, ice cream store.
Is it pineapple sherbet? Is that all?
Kind of. Yeah, it's more like a combo. It's not pure sherbet. Sherbet. Whatever it is, it's more like got a mix of ice cream or something in there. But the chat says it's non-dairy, so I don't know what the other stuff is.
It's frozen. Well, if it's non-dairy, it's not even frozen yogurt then.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's really good though.
Well, what's in a Dole Whip that makes it look like stuff from out of Doomed Megalopolis?
If you guys want to know what that references to, you have to hear the pre-show. But there's some, let's just say, you know what? Tubi.com, great source for lots of weird stuff. Don't just
pre-show.
random.
Pre-show. You got to sign up for the Patreon for trauma.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is just avoid Tubi if you're looking to not be shocked by random anime. That's all I'll say. That's it. And then if you want to sub to the Patreon, you'll hear the whole thing because I
found a recipe to make at home on this Dole Whip.
All right,
but it is full of ads and there's no recipe. I got suckered.
Oh man, you clicked the link that least resistance or something.
Product information. Dole is it or Dole?
Dole like Dole, I believe. So if I do this via let's say Chat GPT. What will it say?
Okay, this is soft serve mix. I don't think that's what I'm looking for because it's probably just the mix, right?
Well, I asked GPT, how do I make a Dole Whip? It says, it's a delicious pineapple soft serve treat, famous at Disney parks. You can make it at home in a few different ways. Here's the recipe. All right, you ready for this? Classic homemade Dole Whip, 2 cups of frozen pineapple chunks, 1/2 cup pineapple juice, 1/2 cup vanilla ice cream or creamier texture, or for creamier texture. You can do milk if you want, or non-dairy stuff, whatever. You can kind of mix and match that. 1 tablespoon of sugar, optional. Just adjust it to taste. I would probably not do it. I like it a little tangier. And that's it. You put it in a blender. You get it till it's nice and smooth. You pour that out into a thing and you eat it like a wild person. And if you want to add like booze to it, people do that all the time.
All right. So, but the original thing was, trying to figure out how it was non-dairy.
Oh.
And all I'm hearing is dairy. Right? Whipping cream, ice cream.
It says, okay, so it says coconut milk if you want a dairy-free option. So you can do it that way.
Okay.
Because coconut milk is non-dairy.
Yeah, it might work in a fruit thing. I mean, I've coconut milk and coffee. So my friend Mike's big on non-dairy milk. You go over and like, oh, can I make you coffee? Yeah. And then it's like, do you want coconut milk or soy? And I'm like, what? I don't want this coffee anymore. Gosh dang.
You want it out of the teat. That's what you want.
Yeah, I'm a cow. I'm a cow guy.
Yeah. Big on the cow excretions.
I'm a regular milk guy.
I can go either way, but I am used to oat milk now because my family is all into oat milk, and I actually kind of like it. So sort of glommed onto it. I like it. So if it were me, I would put you could do that here. You could put a little of that in there, a little oat milk, and then bam, you got your Dole Whip. You didn't need to pay $150 for a ticket to Disney, or the other 100 it takes to get next door to the California adventure. You can just stay at home, mix it up, turn on this blender, wee like that, dump it into a cup, eat it.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm normally not a big pineapple person. I think I have had 10 pineapples in my life.
Oh my gosh, really?
Maybe.
I don't know why that surprises me.
I mean, it's not really a big feature fruit here in Canada to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, it's a very tropical fruit, so it's going to come from the south. And these days, who knows what makes it our way up to you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what we're sending.
You're going to be $5,000 for a pineapple, I guess now. So.
What a deal! What a deal! All right, well, we're here to do a show. We're glad you're all here with us. We're going to get straight into it, and we're going to talk about some news. You know how everybody told us that we were just going to have to hate on Assassin's Creed Shadows? That was just going to be the deal. There was no...
Yeah, like the worst game ever made, according to,
people.
Slop YouTubers. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. That happened a lot, and I know everybody's in a pile-on mood for Ubisoft and all that other stuff. But despite all that shit flinging, right up to the lead-up of the release of the thing, it turns out, based on every review I'm reading, the game's pretty good. Not nearly the shit show everybody thought it would be. And in fact, the reviews have been pretty positive. IGN gave it an 8, which is a reasonable review. They said they didn't think the story was the best thing in the world, but they thought that the refinements to the open world experience and the stealth are really good and the best the game's ever had. It says here, the review for, let's see, is it PC Gamer said, if I can find it, excellent stealth and combat prevail against Shadow's dull story and forgettable cast. So not huge fans of the cast or the story, but gameplay real good. They don't give 80s out like candy over there, so that felt like a decent review. I would, if I were people out there that were on the fence because you just bought into all the anti-hype, maybe go to some trusted sources that you like reviews from and previous experiences with games and see what they say. Because from what I can tell in this big list of reviews I'm looking at, mostly positive.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah. If you're into it. Like, I don't even know if I want to play Assassin's Creed right now. I kind of burned myself out on the series a little bit. Hearing that this adheres more to stealth and world development stuff is good because that's kind of what I'm in the mood for. But I also just kind of need a break. So I don't think I'm like day one for this one this time around.
Yeah. Well, the meta context is as well. There's so many games to play. We have backlogs. So would this rise to the occasion of needing to play it to jump ahead of the line, or be something you check out at some point?
Yeah. Good question. So yeah.
That just because you want to wait isn't a reflection of its quality or the hype it may or may not deserve. But
yeah. But it is interesting, right?
Then,
all that talk.
There's another meta context I need to point out. It's just like people are just kind of down on Ubisoft. Like they're pretty big punching bag, for a number of reasons. I think a lot of it started with Elden Ring and UI complaints. There was that meme that went around about how much UI is in an Assassin's Creed game and stuff like that. Like the more esoteric complaints. There's the whole, is this an insult to Japan conversation that is just absolutely frustrating, given that it is a work of historical fiction. I don't know.
It's important to note.
Yeah. It's like, are we going to get mad about like how many historical fiction movies are there?
It's apparently a bit of
wasn't accurate. Inglourious Bastards is a terrible film because that's not how World War II played out.
Well, there's a bit of a stink
Boycott.
up. There's a stink up in Japan about how you can rip through certain spiritual historical sites in Japan that are represented in the game and kind of tear things up a little bit, like make a mess. And patch day one.
The Division takes place in New York City, and they've ruined New York.
So
Down with the Division.
But in this case, they went ahead and did it. They went ahead and let the day one patch addresses that, so you can't cause so much mayhem in the Japanese stuff. I kind of get. That I kind of get, though. If you're Japanese and you have all like deep feelings about these spiritual sites or whatever, I get that you don't want some French company taking a shit on your.
Who's mad about Spider-Man: Homecoming, where they destroy the Statue of Liberty fighting villains? It's like, it's such a disrespect to the Statue of Liberty. Like, we can't have movies that damage the Statue of Liberty. That's not what people are going to break the Statue of Liberty. Like, it's so stupid.
Is this voice based on anybody you know? Do you know who this is? This voice you're using? Because
I don't know. I'm just trying to make I'm just trying to be like a whiny baby, basically. Like, it's such a nothing burger, this whole complaint. And like, again, it's like, oh no, the poor Japan. Like, the problem is asshole YouTubers going there and being shitty in Japan for content. Like that's the beginning and end of the problem. It has nothing to do with fiction. Like it's actual real people going and like causing problems, and it's a whole issue. It's like
yeah,
how many video games and movies take place in real world locations where they destroy it, climb over it. Like Independence Day, they blew up the White House.
Yeah.
No, it's like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Like, holy shit.
It does seem a little sensitive. However, the good news is, as we gaze upon this Metacritic list here, we are at an 81% overall favorable review. That is much higher than I was led to believe. I was told this game was going to be a garbage game, and so far, seems like it might be worthy of play. But I'm not. I'm in no rush.
I think it looks cool. I don't have without having played it, I cannot give you a review. But in contrast to a lot of it's popped up in my algorithm, which I try not to click on, but still rises up to an offering on my YouTube and my social medias. There's nothing about this game that looks controversial or bad. If you're sick of Assassin's Creed, fine. If you're sick of Ubisoft, like, fine, I guess. But you still got to like objectively look at the video game and be like, hey, if you're going to spend $60 to $80 on a good time, there you go. You can have the conversation. It looks fine, and you can have the conversation. I've heard the ending might be hidden behind some DLC potentially to the main campaign.
Oh, I don't like that.
But I've heard that. I don't like. There might be like that they've just like cliffhangered it. It's not like, oh, here's extra content unrelated to the main campaign. Gotcha. But I can't confirm that yet. But I think there might be some element to that. But I score marks against it. Maybe that's why it's got an 8 and not a 9 or a 10. And from a lot of places.
Right.
But
right.
Looks cool.
Looks all right.
With Assassin's Creed. Yeah, seems fine.
I guess I'm just trying to hammer down the message here that maybe the hype train and anti-hype trains ahead of a thing aren't healthy for us to get too attached to. You know what I mean?
No, I think, and like it maybe comes up in our conversations because, like, I think we all are trying to some extent. We're looking at our news sources for, to have our conversations here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I look through. I have RSS feeds on all the news sites. I did for a time. I've been doing it a lot less this year and recently, but for a time I went out of my way to follow like big YouTube accounts, to see what the buzz and conversation was, and I found it not just with Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I found it in a lot of cases for it to be very unhelpful most of the time, or very stupid, or very silly. Like you kind of got to parse out the better creators from the people who are just tabloid, just trying to get clicks, trying to find controversies, trying to make them, hooking, like gaming is politics now. So if you're that type of person and you can hook your rhetoric into politics, that's like proactively being done. That's a financial direction, and that's not. I personally, as someone who makes content for video games, I don't think that's very healthy or good for it at all.
Yeah.
And you get a game like this that is like historical context, so it's ripe for that. Like there's even I watched a video from a Japanese YouTuber to listen to someone's perspective on like how it's disrespectful to Japanese culture, and I was like, "You're an idiot." Like, it's like it's historical fiction. Like it's there's how many movies have taken places that have not been accurate, and we have not ground so many barrels of oil powering servers to deliver videos to people about absolute nonsense. Like, what a waste of time.
Think about it that way. I know that there's a market for it, clearly, because there's money in it, and clearly people are doing it for that reason. It just always feels gross to me, so I'm not interested in that end of this stuff at all. But this is one of those examples, given the high exposure of the Assassin's Creed series and this game in particular. It was impossible not to get hit by some of those stray bullets.
And the trouble with Ubisoft, like part of when we talk about Ubisoft is parsing out like what is they've had bad practices, their fate as a company, like how much of that is like earned by their own actual mistakes.
Yeah.
Versus things that are being attributed as mistakes by a conglomerate or cartel of media creators that are just sensationalizing stuff that actually doesn't have a lot of merit. Like, that's always my difficulty with Ubisoft. I'm not a hardcore fan, and I'm not hardcore plugged into the company. So sometimes I hear stuff and go like, what? Like, it's just a video game company? Like, why are people so twisted about Ubisoft? Like, it seems excessive to me. Now, I know they had sexual harassment issues. That seems serious. I think they try a little too hard to have their own walled garden, and I don't think that's great for their company. I think you can look at their over-reliance on their big brands and that not a lot of great new ideas out of there, although that's not true. Because, like, Anno is a pretty great game, apparently. I still haven't tried it yet, but,
1800
they have
really
a
good.
big franchise in Anno that, like, I've met people who barely play games, but they love Anno. They're just like, I'm into Anno. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're serving that audience. And, they have had some cool new stuff. Immortals Rising was a beloved game.
I loved it.
You recommended for a lot, and I played a bit and enjoyed it too, even though I didn't get into it.
Yeah, John liked it too.
So, like,
I think. He was,
sometimes I feel like there's a half truth to both ends, where it's like, yeah, I mean, the company's definitely effing up and they're having problems, but like, I can't rely on the editorializing of a lot of people who like crap on their games for for aspects I feel are completely without merit and are just like either politically motivated or views motivated in that way.
Every week we get at least one message, somebody saying, have you heard what Blank Check 55 said on his YouTube channel about this stuff? As if that suddenly there's a revelation that's going to change my entire sensibility around something. I don't know why we're now there, but that's where we're at, man. This is the media landscape in gaming. And
I think I can explain that a little bit. I think our audience probably just doesn't like. There's a portion of our audience that isn't just limited to us, right?
Oh,
like,
of course.
We definitely have people who are like they listen to Core and that's it. Like, and and that's great. We have our community. We have some people who are like, as soon as they're done watching us on YouTube or listening to our show, we're going to go to the next. They got a big roster of things they like to listen to.
Sure.
And sometimes you hear something on one place and then you're like, oh man, that's like crazy. I'm going to tell these other people about this because they might be interested to know that. I think it's natural.
Oh, I think it's fine. And then keep them coming. But there's sometimes an assumption in these messages where they're like, oh yeah, well, listen to what this guy said. And it's I wouldn't want them doing it the other way. I don't know if anyone ever forwards anything that we've said and said, oh yeah, well, listen to what Core said. Like to me, it's a weird thing to do that, to throw that around like that.
Yeah.
I think differing opinions are great. Everybody should share whatever It's just such a weird time. We're in a weird time. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how to define it. I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to improve it or make it worse. I don't know anything about why it is what it is, except there is real money to be made if you chase the negative. There really is, like genuinely.
Yes.
But it just feels gross for a lot of us to want to go there. So we don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like, what are you? What are your pillars? Like, what are your foundational pillars? Like, and I don't know if everyone thinks of them that way, but I definitely like think of our show as like, I'm here to like, I want everyone to have a good time. That wasn't my pillar at first. When we first did the show, my pillar was to educate you guys about Heroes of the Storm. I was like, I need to be, that's why Next Jeopardy got invented. It's like, you don't remember the names of talents. It's like, this is to help you guys remember. It's like, I was an educator.
Yeah.
And, I hope to be funny and have a good time. I was certainly very excited to be a part of this thing, And,
sure.
And nowadays I look at it more like people are having a, crappy time. They want to they listen in their car or they're listening in whatever context. If I can give them a laugh, or provoke them in some way that's not like enraging, like how we talk. Apparently, a lot of people didn't like the Q-tip story from last week. I'm sorry about that.
No, they did not like that story.
But stuff like that. If I can give you a good time or make you think about something, or just give you, that's my pillar. So as soon as it starts going deep into listen, Assassin's Creed is the most racist thing to ever come out against Japan. I'm just like, that's no, it's just that's silly. That's for other. That's slop. I consider that slop. That's just
it's a good amount of slop. Big old bucket of slop.
Keep in mind, sometimes the content you're watching may sound legitimate, but it's just people shoveling slop so that you feel anything.
We endeavor not to shovel slop at you guys. All right, we try.
I don't think we want to make people mad.
No,
and that's probably bad for our business.
Yeah, I don't want to make people mad. Hey, and by the way, a couple of people, I was talking last week about anonymous messages where I can't even respond are going to get you nowhere if you have a differing opinion than me. And immediately 2 people sent me counters to that. One of them all up in arms. I won't get into details here, but once again, both of them anonymous, both of them leaving me no way to talk to them. There are ways to get a hold of me directly, and I will be able to reply to you. So they're always like, oh, using your show to say this, but the minute I call you out, you won't respond. I can't respond. You didn't give me a way to. I don't know your name. I don't know anything about you, and I don't have an email address or nothing. So if you're going to send those, I don't have a problem with those. Send them. Send them all day long. Just, I need to know who I'm talking to, or else what are you talking about? That's the whole point, is that you were anonymous, and you stayed anonymous. That was my complaint. And you came back at me with the same problem in your response. Anyway, it's a long story. I don't want to get into it.
No, it's frustrating.
I'm frustrated because what am I supposed to say? I got nothing. Anyway, Beau, here's the other stuff that's interesting.
Let's talk about the game.
Marvel. Let's talk about Marvel for a second. They almost had their own shared universe of games. You now have the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There was almost a MVU, Marvel Video Game Universe. This close. And then Marvel kiboshed it.
Really? Like a interconnected, like Kevin Feige?
Yeah. Multiple games that would lead to other games that had crossovers with other games. Think of all those kinds of things that makes the MCU.
That would require a level of financial patience I don't think the video game industry is ready for.
No. And I don't think, I think Marvel was probably right to turn this idea in.
A long-term vision? What?
Yeah, long-term. Dude, long-term vision in the games business is so short compared to everything else. There's just no way that works. But it almost happened.
Who was that story?
So this is almost a thing, according to Bungie co-founder. I think he said this at, where did he say this? It was on an episode of the Fourth Curtain podcast, which is an IGN thing, or maybe it's a separate thing. Anyway,
that's a weird title.
The Fourth Curtain. I don't know. I'm not sure what it means. But anyway, it was, their idea was to tie all this stuff together, and Marvel in the end, already struggling with its video game strategy. We're just like, I don't think we can. It's already hard enough to do this with the movies. Why do we want to do this with the games? And I think I agree. That seems like a big undertaking that we're not really equipped for, at least right now, in terms of, like, what does that mean? Let's say With movies, you can do it because it's movies. You go into the theater, you sit down, 2 hours, bam, you watch the thing. You like the story or you didn't, the cool effects or not, whatever. But it's the same format every time. That's the delivery method. A video game universe connected means Beau's playing first-person shooter Captain America game over here while I'm playing top-down, three-quarter view Diablo-like Marvel game, and somehow those are connected, and there's crossovers, I guess, but that doesn't feel...
So this is like EVE Online did this when they had that first-person shooter that was supposed to take place on the planets that was connected to the EVE Online universe.
Sure. I mean, doing it in universe, I think, kind of makes sense, but trying to manage that through many titles in the way you already do with your films, I just don't know how it's sustainable. I would have like as much as
I don't.
As much.
I
as,
mean, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's probably very possible, but I think you would need a level of coordination that I don't think we've seen. Like it would, in video games, right? Like they take a long time to make, so it's not like one studio can just do that. Unless they're a big enough studio with enough investment to actually concurrently work on all of these. And, games, even if they're successful, tend to not be successful. So how do you weather the storm through all this? It's crazy.
Well, he says, so this is, what's his name?
Ambitious, for sure.
Yeah. This co-founder of Bungie, it's one of the co-founders. There he is, Alexander Sieropian. I'm not sure I'm saying his name right. Here's the quote. I was coming out of ARGs at that point and thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we had some ARG aspects, meaning like real world gamified marketing hoo-ha. Everyone knows what an ARG is. Anyway, there would be a place where players could go that all the games touched, and we could move them back and forth from game to game. We could link in comics. We could loop anything in, and we could do original stuff. And then Alex said it didn't get funded, so we made a bunch of games instead. So anyway, almost happened. Didn't happen.
I sort of see the point, though. The video games are very much, because they do reference like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're like, it stands distinct, right? Like there's no, narratively speaking, there's no interoperability between the Spider-Man franchise and the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise.
Right. Crossover occasionally in the comics, but it's not like sensibly from a mechanical standpoint. I mean, obviously there was crossover at the end of Endgame. Spider-Man was there, Star-Lord's there, the rest of the crew are there. Like they're having their moment of crossover, but that's not every game, or that's not every movie. Yeah. That's this one time we get to do this fun thing, or in that case, 2 times because Infinity War and Endgame were they were separate, but they're kind of one movie. But again, I think it's all about like delivery. This is a movie. You come to the movie, you see the movie in the same way that you're going to see the next movie. Your eyeballs in your ears and a chair with popcorn in your lap. Video games aren't that. They're different. You take them in differently, different speeds. People play them differently. Some people focus on multiplayer. Some people only play single player. Like
you're also shoehorning yourself into one genre of game pretty much, which is like the Spider-Man game, which has a locked narrative.
There you go. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it. They could,
if you want to make a Choices Matter RPG about Storm, well, that's not going to happen if everyone's locked into a big web of MCU properties. It might have still worked. I mean, the Spider-Man games are well loved, but it would just be, I don't know, a big ask. And like, what do you do about the Storm video game, right?
Yeah. Also,
like that just doesn't sell it. Even if it's a great game, it just doesn't sell as much because
And your budget issues are weird because. Let's say it costs you $300 million to make a massive Marvel movie. It may cost you $300 million to make a massive video game, but that game is going to take 10 years to develop, and the movie's going to be done in 2 once pre-production's over. So you have that.
It would require so much concurrent stuff and not changing, course in midstream for a lot of these projects.
Yeah,
it just seems it's just ridiculous because. Yeah, I see the advantages. Like Call of Duty has a new IP and they have recurring characters and stuff that are involved, but it's just I think the pace at which the comics industry works at or operates at is not conducive to this. I think it,
But
I if they could do it, it would be definitely preferable. Like, we have examples of video game franchises with through lines in them. Like, World of Warcraft is the example that comes to mind. Like, and all Blizzard IP, but like, they kick that can down the road in decades, not in, there's got to be new Marvel shit every year in the MCU. And the game development in that pace.
Yeah,
you're talking of pre-planning.
Yeah,
and it would all be like the same genre of game.
Multiple decades of planning.
Yeah,
and I just don't think that's tenable, especially with the money you're going to have to spend to commit to that.
And then heaven forbid, the gamer, enclave decides, this is too political. We don't like you. We're sick of the same game. Your ledges are painted yellow when we climb them, and then all of a sudden your entire business model's in the shitter for multiple games.
Do you notice I'm wearing the color of the ledges in all the games?
Yeah. I almost climbed on you when I first saw you.
Yeah.
I almost jumped at my monitor to try and climb you.
Yeah. I got a hot dog the other day, had mustard on it. Almost climbed my hot dog. Just saw it and went, or broke it like a crate. See if there's ammo in there. That's what you do. Anyway, Marvel, good luck. I doubt you're going to do any of this. Let's talk about Baldur's Gate. You're a fan of the Baldur's Gate series, in particular 3, right, Beau?
Yes. Yeah.
I think we all love 3. My daughter and her friend are playing 3 again.
So we're getting some Winners of the Coast news here, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be weird here. So, all right. Baldur's Gate fans, according to this article, do not have long to wait to find out the future of the franchise. The only thing we know for sure is that Larian's not doing it. So it's somebody else. And it was a IGN conversation with Hasbro, Digital Games SVP Dan Ayoub. Dan Ayoub. Am I saying that right?
Ayub, yeah.
Okay, probably with too much emphasis, but yeah.
You probably shouldn't say it that way because
it's probably racist a little bit.
Arabic last name, and probably would get taken the wrong way, even though you're just being goofy.
Well, yeah. Plus, he has Dan is just a name, Anyway, this is all part of GDC. This came out. It says there are plans for Baldur's Gate, and there's a lot of interest in the potential in the franchise. Quote, we're kind of working out our plans for the future and what we're going to be doing with that next. And actually, in pretty short order, we're going to have some stuff to talk about around that, he said, making sure games like Baldur's Gate remain relevant.
Here's a name you can laugh about. The Hasbro CEO's name is Chris Cox.
Chris Cox. Yeah.
That's like penises. We saw one earlier today.
It's pretty close to Chris Cross, which was the rap kids. Remember them with the pants on backwards?
Chris Cox will make you jump.
Chris Cox makes you... That's terrible.
Chris Cox will make you jump. I wonder if he does that. When he goes to a boardroom meeting, on his cell phone, he plays the song and he goes, Chris Cox will make you jump.
Oh my
jump,
gosh.
Puts his pants on backwards.
I would want out of that meeting so bad. Let me leave is what I would say.
He's still better than Randy Pritchford in his magic show, I'm sure. But
that's true. Okay. USB of life. Anyway, at the time, Cox said that there would be more Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons video games on the way. This could also mean Baldur's Gate 4 included in the grand scheme of things. He says it's a somewhat unenviable position, he continued. He says, I mean, we're not in a hurry, right? That's the thing. We're going to take a very measured approach. We've got all kinds of plans, a lot of different ways to go about it. None of this gives me confidence, Beau. All of it makes me feel
why
weird.
Are these guys in the media even saying this shit? Like, shut the hell up and make some
yeah, but it's
get
their
serious.
job.
Your company's your company's careening into the shitter, for a lot of reasons outside of the context of this.
Well, one we're going to talk about later, but
yes, and for a number of reasons. I mean, Magic the Gathering's pricing's going out of control. I think it's fine that they're doing crossover stuff, but there's problems.
Yeah.
The amount of inflationary prices that are going into the game is just psychotic. And the amount of product SKUs they're developing for these things also crazy, and the increased number of sets per year going they're just going nuts on the money squeeze on people who enjoy Magic.
Yeah,
and the number of other failures, and they're just like, oh yeah, we got time and we can make a great game. It's gonna be great, guys. It's like, what? Let your products speak for themselves and get to work. That's that you are in the hole, and when you're sliding into the hole, it doesn't help to be like everything's great. We're doing great, everyone.
Well, knowing what we know about where it's at and knowing that Larian's not involved, if you could pick one developer currently working that you would like to see do Baldur's Gate 4, Larian's not an option, who do you choose?
I
don't have a
Blizzard?
Good answer either, by the way. Blizzard.
Honestly,
wow,
Blizzard, I think, Square Enix could probably do something interesting with it, even though it wouldn't resemble D&D. The answer, look, these guys obviously cannot acknowledge reality because it would be super bad PR. It would be actually good PR because acknowledging reality is a problem we're having in 2025, broadly speaking.
Sure.
But it would be, seen as bad PR to be like, we understand that the reason why people liked Baldur's Gate 3 is not because of D&D.
Yeah.
The developers who worked on it have built up a lot of goodwill and trust. And I could give two shits about Baldur's Gate 4. I'll be honest, I don't care. What do I care about? What is Larian working on next? That's going to be fire. That's exciting.
That's a good point.
I'm not like, oh man, I love Baldur's Gate so much. I don't care who works on it. It's my favorite franchise. It's like, no, they made a kick-ass video game and they resolved it. So I don't care what happens next. I'm out.
You did. If Larian was there, you'd be stoked about 4, but they're not. They're gone. They're doing other things.
Yeah, if Larian was doing 4, I'd be like, this is going to be a must purchase. They're going to put their backs into it. It's going to be great.
This is 100% the issue.
The only people who can make a better Baldur's Gate 4 game is going to be Wizards of the Coast if they get this shit together and, earn it. That's why I'm like, why all this talking? Like Larian set a bar for you. And everyone who's plugged in, okay, casual people who just buy games probably don't know this stuff, but everyone's plugged in knows you're going to F it up.
Sure feels
the writing
like
is already on the wall and you're not even out of concepting or prototyping or whatever they call the stage before alpha. Like that's our starting point on your pitch to us for a new D&D video game, anything.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so if they were to acknowledge reality and be like, yeah, Larian did us a real solid, set us a really high bar, and we would like to continue with Baldur's Gate and other D&D franchises, and we know we've got to step up our game and deliver better products, that would be what I want to hear at this point. Stage 2 being deliver actually amazing experiences, which in theory, if we have an open mind, they should be capable of. But right now, it's like, no,
yeah, to me, so you said it pretty well earlier. I just don't think they could acknowledge it. Maybe there's not a good PR way to acknowledge it. But this isn't about Baldur's Gate, the name, or the characters, or anything really to do with Baldur's Gate. This has everything to do with who did Baldur's Gate and what prestige did they bring to it from their previous titles. And now that it's done, what are they doing next? Now, your average gamer may not know any of this. They don't know who Larian is, maybe. Maybe a lot of people are just like, oh, I love that game. I can't wait for the next one. Because in their head, that means, well, they're making it like they did the last one with all these same great ideas and then better ones, right? Right? No. We don't know. Maybe they will.
They may make something entertaining enough that they can milk it for shareholder value and get some money, but...
Yeah.
Like they're going to release a game. It's probably going to be okay to bad. That's about it. Like the hype,
We got a great little sub chat here going with Galib M, who says, "Get the FIFA guys to make Baldur's Gate 4. They're not doing anything."
Oh, I don't get that joke.
Well, I think there just might be some beef in the FIFA community or whatever it's called now. Not FIFA, but what's it called?
Football.
Yeah, but they have a new name.
Did they lose the FIFA franchise?
Yeah, well, not franchise, but the organization name. It's a little like you kept the players and the teams, but you couldn't keep the big overseeing organization. It would be like losing NFL for Madden, but keeping teams and players. And I don't know what they changed it to. I can't remember.
That's a strange arrangement, but yeah, okay.
It's a little like that. You get league deals and you get player deals. Player and team deals.
All right, I get it.
So, something like that. Anyway, so whatever they call it now. They call it something other than FIFA, whatever it is. I don't remember. Anyway, I just like I like FIFA beef. There are people that are so into that series. It's their yearly purchase. It's all the games. I'm not saying this dude in our chat's like that, but there are people that's all they give a crap about in video games. And whenever there's something going wrong in that community, it's fun to watch because it just feels separate but yet relatable. I don't know.
It's football fans. I mean, by reputation, literally, if things go wrong, they rip out the railings on the stadium and throw them and beat each other with them. You know, like.
FC. That's it. It's now FC, like FC 2025, football club 2020. Basically,
they're not making a game, or
I don't know what the beef is. I just made me laugh. So Galib, if you know what the beef is, share your beef.
I'm sure. I'm sorry, I don't fully understand the joke, but thanks for explaining. But I will say, again, I don't. I think that would probably not a great move to get the football guys to make an RPG.
I know. Well, no, that's for sure.
It's probably just not their interest.
No, that's a foregone conclusion. Although I wouldn't mind the attempt, so I can see the train wreck that would be that game.
I mean, what if there was like an RPG about a football player and combat was done by kicking balls at each other?
Basically exists.
And had a full story and narrative, like do like a dragon, but do something like that. Like,
I think that exists.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested. Like, I'm curious. I don't know if I'll like it, but like, cool. Like, let's do that.
I think there is a thing.
There is a soccer RPG.
Yeah, a couple of
combat by kicking soccer balls at each other.
Yeah, and it's turn-based even.
Think of it like Shaolin soccer, right? Like something like that.
Yeah, but I think there's a turn-based. It may be kind of a smaller game, so it's not really in the same crowd as the FC.
But they did it for wrestling, right? There was the pixel art wrestling RPG.
Oh, right. Yeah. Today I've got a game that I played that I will share later that I can't believe how good this turn-based game is. You're going to laugh at it. In fact, you're probably gonna roll your eyes at it because initial impressions require you to roll your eyes, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, that sounds awesome. I'll get to it. Don't worry, I'll get to it. Maybe the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 people could do it. They sold 5 times more than their original game. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 decimated the previous game sales. Maybe that's an example of make a good thing, people buy it. Then they go, ooh, this is great. And the next time those people make a thing, people automatically buy it because it was so great the first time and now it's even better. That's how you sell video games, people.
This is on my like regret list. Like the first one interested me too. I bought it like super cheap and I got to play it. And the second one's out before I got a chance to.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though. It just.
You want magic and the sword. You want magic wizards. You want wizards and freaking dark magic and dragons, don't you?
It's not even that I want magic. I find the low magic and historical stuff appealing. I haven't heard anything exciting from it. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, it never clears the bar for me.
Some people are calling it the best RPG of the year so far. I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. But, I got this friend who texts me, I don't know, probably 3 times a week going, dude, you played it yet? No. Oh, you won't believe the story point I just got to, this and that and the other thing. So it's a lot of story stuff, big deals like that, and then accurate portrayal of the time and the era and the life and all that.
Yeah. I guess it's not like the lack of magic or anything. It's just like, I'm not actually into medieval shit. Like, it's a depressing era of, everyone fighting, being ignorant and stupid, and we want to move beyond that, and I just don't find it appealing.
But you love Banished. Banished is a big deal for you, and Banished is basically that, isn't it? It's a different kind of game.
I mean, Banished has no narrative. It's a city builder. It's
in the Middle Ages, though. See, with your diseases.
No, I don't think it's Middle Ages. I think I wouldn't call it Banished Middle Ages.
Oh. I thought it was.
I'm trying to think of what technology is available that might suggest its time, but I believe.
Let's see, Banished.
I don't know. It's a good question, but I always sort of put it more in like 1700s, like not medieval. Like
here it is, right here. I got a description for you. Ready? The game Banished is set in a fictional medieval time.
Well, there you go.
But it is not historically accurate, but it does say anywhere between the Dark Ages and Middle Ages, roughly between 700 and 1200 AD, according to the developer. So there you go.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go. Okay.
But again, very different game. Yeah. So I don't want to compare the two.
It's just those. This is a narrative game, right? It's like a vibes game. I don't know. Yeah. Banished to me is like more of a masterclass in design versus like, oh, it's in medieval times. That's for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I will also play, 2 Point Museum, which is contemporary.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And has a bunch of fake shit in it.
I'll play SimCity. Like it's that it's more. This is a narrative RPG. I'm being told a story from a time when the Black Plague could kill you, but like I don't know. It's just,
I get it. I'm hesitant for the same reasons. I don't know if I'm ready for a serious medieval vibe. I don't know if I am.
Like it's like that with TV shows too. Like I enjoyed watching Vikings.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm always just like, oh, like they meet the monks, right? And like he takes a monk back, and I'm like, that haircut, like it's so offensive, like it's so stupid, like this. They're like, oh, geez, like whenever they start getting into like the importance of Christ and all that, I'm like, just kill me, like I like the Viking part where they worship weird gods and stuff. Odin's shooting lightning bolts at my boat. We must have angered him. Like I'm like, oh, that's cool. But whenever it's like, oh, drink from the cup of Christ and do reverse balding haircut, I'm like,
I never heard of it.
It's not interesting.
I never heard anybody call it reverse balding haircut, but I know what you mean. That kind of friar.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Where they have the crown.
Yeah.
And
Friar Tuck. Look.
I'm like, why do we even want to watch a story about people like this? Like, it's so stupid.
It is stupid, but part of that is because all of that carries to modern, and the Viking stuff's fun because it's all lost to mythology. Nobody's sitting around today going, I think that Odin stuff, they had a point. I think that's my new religion. I'm going back to that. Nobody does that anymore. But that's why they're all so cool, because we're past it, and so now you just look at it as antiquity, and you can say the Greek gods or the Roman gods or the Egyptian gods, these are rad. Don't talk to me about Jesus. They're still doing that.
Yeah, I guess like the line for me is like, I'm all for learning about history and like, what did they do? Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't need an immersive. What was it like to be a swordsman in 1376, Eastern Europe? I'm just like, mostly my interest is because people say it's good, but the actual content, I'm just like, you're really asking a lot for me, guys. Like,
well, people that I really like, reviewers that I really like.
I can play Cyberpunk a second time, or I can play this shit game. Like, I'm like, that's my attitude, and I'm like, I don't discount people saying it's good, and that's where the frustration comes in, where it's like I have to get over my desire to not play the game. So it's annoying when people say it's good, because I would rather just skip it and feel good about skipping it.
Yeah, but instead we feel bad that we're skipping a game all our friends are saying is good. 9 to 12 in the chat, I have to address this. She says, LOL, you say that, but I'm officiating a Norse wedding next month. Yeah, but they're not like hardcore Norse religious zealots, right? This is all for fun. It's
fine if they are. Like, it doesn't matter.
I don't care either. But what I'm saying is, people do this for fun and for the cosplay of it and for the fun of it. It's not because they're going, I want to appease Odin and not anger his will. Therefore, are there really people who believe in like polytheist religions, like are actually faithful to? I don't think so.
Like. I haven't thought about it, so I don't know what to say about it. I need to think about it, but I know a lot of people think it's cool, and like, so.
I mean, I think it's cool. I'd love to go to a wedding.
They have like way more badass stories than I burnt a bush, like. You know what I mean? Like, the stories are way more interesting to me. I've always been like that. Like, you hand me a Bible, I'm like, boring. You hand me like a book of Greek myths, and it's like, hell yeah, son, let's go. I want to read this shit.
I burnt a bush. Oh man, that is boring. I burnt a bush. Very boring.
Yeah, like people are gonna be offended. I'm an atheist, so I'm sorry. Apologies in advance. It's just if I look at them as like entertaining reads, I'm going with the polytheist stories.
Yeah,
it's like a guy strapped wings and tried to fly in the sky, but the sun melted it, and Daedalus was pleased. Like
they are.
There's a labyrinth with a cow man that's gonna kick your ass, and I'm just like, oh shit, this stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
And then religions like the Quran, which I've read, is just like, do this, don't do that, do this, and it's like boring. Tell me a story. Dude.
At least the Old Testament's got some pretty wild war stuff in it, and some gnarly like incest and all that.
Maybe, but it's like very preachy and I don't know. It's just not. It's not cool. It doesn't have cool shit in it. I'm sorry.
Galib says, I pray at the altar of Ifrit. I like it. Well, moving on. Let's talk about this Project Sigil thing from Hasbro / Wizards of the Coast. They bailed on it. This was basically their big, like, I don't know, I don't want to call it competitor to anything, but it was going to be like their big D&D suite of tools, right? People can run big, crazy games.
What did you call it Sigil, right?
What did I say? Sigil? I meant
Sigil.
Sigil, sorry. Oh, yeah, I should remember that.
Nod. Although the people are trying to retcon that now that's too gatekeepery.
Yeah.
The whole point is the people of Sigil can identify you as a mark if you call it the wrong name and rob you or kill you or do terrible things to you because you're a sucker.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's Sigil. Yes.
Well, the whole thing was supposed to be like this virtual desktop, had a massive budget. They let everybody go.
Yeah,
and
we talked about this on the show when they did their one D&D presentation when they're trying to say like, here's a new edition coming, and I was like a hater. I'm like, this is 5.5. Like, they're just making new books to make new books.
Yeah,
and by all accounts, I think the new Dungeon Master's Guide is probably actually a worthy publication. It sounds like overall for a 5.5 update, it's like these books might actually be pretty good. But however, like the sales have been bad. I've been following this. They haven't released numbers, but a lot of telltale signs about industry insiders are suggesting that this was not the new edition has. I think they're just calling it 2024. I'm not even sure if they're fully labeling it 6 or 5.5. That's part of the confusion about this. But the new edition is not faring very well compared to the previous one. Even though the actual books are well regarded enough, like it's not trash or anything like that, but it is very 5.5y. That the sales weren't great on these books, essentially. And so part of this whole one D&D push that we all made fun of was like, 6 people with laptops sitting at a table staring into their laptops, and just how out of they want to, the people at Hasbro and maybe even Wizards, I don't know who's saying what within the companies, I don't have insider knowledge, want to like market this thing as like how other video game companies, how other tech companies are generating revenue. They are chasing trends that do not fit the D&D brand. Mm-mm. And we lampooned it as like an overwrought VTT, as if 6 people with laptops. It's like, oh, so cringy. But a lot of people, I think, even having said that and that being my opinion, there were people that shared that opinion. Some people were like, "No, this is going to be cool. This is going to be great." And as it turns out, I think they had like a beta launch, I think, or something, or they've been, testing out interest. And there's like their prediction now is like nobody wants this anymore. Yeah. And so they laid off 90% of the staff.
I think they thought, you know what I think they thought? I think they thought that they could promote that this would end up making 1 million other Critical Role type successes. Like you would just have the Critical Role stamp of approval, and it would go boom, boom, boom,
I think
boom.
They thought the revenue stream was going to be like, because Magic publishes new cards and then sells like hotcakes. I think they thought it was going to be a recurrent. It's basically the Blizzard story. Oh, it's not going to be WoW money.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to shake the people there that are making financial decisions about what D&D is. Like, unfortunately, you own an IP that nobody needs products for because there's already a vast library, and most people just want to make their own shit. You need a rule book, and you could even make your own character sheets and stuff. Like, you don't need to buy that much. It's like the cheapest hobby of them all, and people only buy like cool shit to have like cool dice or cool like you can still sell products. But you're not. It's not like you're never gonna have an Elmo doll or something like that, with this. And it's funny. As I was reading articles about this, there was a Gary Gygax quote that I never heard of, that was attributed to him, and it's like, if people understood what we did at TSR, they would never buy a product from us again, because it's like basketball. Like, I don't need to license basketball to play basketball. I gotta buy a ball. That ball might last me 5 years.
Sure.
I might buy a pair of shoes or whatever. Like, you don't need a lot. And so the video game space is like filled with hobbyists and planned obsolescence in terms of consoles going out. Like there's constantly new reasons to be buying stuff in the gaming space, but it doesn't apply to D&D. You just need paper and a set of dice, like one set of dice that everyone can share. Like it's so, the juice of that game is so like anti-tech, basically.
But you think they would focus their effort then on making sure more Baldur's Gate 3 Baldur's Gate 3s happen.
I liked him in Star Wars.
He was amazing in that. But you know what I mean? Like push that end of it, because that is something that could see continued growth. If you made nothing but banger tie-in video games, books, films, whatever it is around the D&D name, and let D&D just be what it is. Quit trying to squeeze gold out of that melon. You know what I mean? Just let it be what it's, like you said, it's not meant to be a profit center. It's like buying a hat. You're going to wear it until it wears out. Just focus on that other stuff and then have a success there. Then that's how you that's how you capitalize on D&D success. Not in D&D itself, but on top of it and around it.
Yeah. They still own the market, like the hugest market share from the brand recognition. So it's like, they do get revenue for this stuff. But
yeah, hell yeah.
They're trying to grow it, and I feel like it's already they've probably maxed out, you know? Like that's why it's like Baldur's Gate 3 was a breakaway hit because of Larian. You're not just going to be publishing games like that because people love Asterion.
Yeah.
You know, like, sorry, but there's more to it than that, and they have not set themselves up for success in their PR to the player base. Has been atrocious in terms of trying to take away rights from people and steal their IPs and do so many like anti-consumer things in the space as well, that there's no goodwill from people in the community and creators who are creating things around them. And it's just, you know, so I'm not shocked. To me, this felt very anti-spirit of D&D. People need the VTTs.
Yeah.
It is a tool.
Sure.
They
should have been doing this 10 years ago, first of all, if they wanted to corner that market.
It spiked because of the pandemic. It was not a sign of an ongoing trend that was going to grow. Mm-hmm. People are now more out of the house, and if you have the option to play in person than over the computer, most people are going to play over in person.
Yeah.
And there's just something, it's like paper magic. There's just something about tactile items at a table that is superior to computer tools.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
There's just a feel, the smell of paper and dice, and the vibe of it, you know, is preferable.
Almost the entire draw is that, you know,
in
a lot of ways. We're having to make up for it in some ways, but I think that's what people really want. I was going to ask you, total side note, do you remember when Gary Gygax was in an episode of Futurama? Did you ever see that?
No, I need to see that.
Oh, it's so good. You could seek it out.
Actually him?
Yeah, it is actually him doing the voice before he passed. The episode's called, where is it? It is called... Oh, I had it right here. There it is. Anthology of Interest 1. It was one of those Tales of Interest episodes. Anyway, he was great in it. And it was funny because every time he made a decision, you had to roll dice to make the decision. It was awesome.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I should watch that one.
I should
watch Futurama. You rave about it.
Oh, dude. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh, shit. Just on this note, too, that while we're talking about TTRPGs and the encroachment of other brands, someone mentioned, I guess Mark in the chat room was mentioning that the Shadow Dark Kickstarter is at 1.6 million. I guess it's for... I thought Shadow Dark was already released. But this is a new... Oh, the Western Reaches setting, 20 days to go. So Shadow Dark is like a streamlined, pared down version of a TTRPG that has, like, you know, that kick-ass art that Kyle was always sharing with us, like that black and white. Mm-hmm. It's like that's the total vibe of the books. Like I think if I were to play another TTRPG, I don't even want to play D&D anymore. I just like, let's play Shadow Dark. I find it so appealing.
Oh, look at this!
It's like a one-book solution. Your character, like, you know, your class features and stuff, it's basically on a single page. So you know how, like, you're looking through a catalog, like a menu of things to do on your turn when we were playing?
Yeah.
What if it was just on a single page? Like, I'm just going to give you an example of the fighter class here. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Hang on.
I'm really curious about this. Yeah,
like that's the extent of what you need to know about your class to play the game. Like, and I've said this a lot in a lot of my, I would answer a lot of questions about being a DM and about rules and stuff. And I'm like, TTRPGs maybe double dribbling is and a few of the rules, and like you're good to go. And I think like at its best, sitting down to play a TTRPG, there should be like minimal friction between most people. Most players I've ever played with have zero interest in reading anything.
Yeah.
It's always the DMs is like, I've studied it, I know all the rules, and everyone's like, you're so awesome for doing all this work. And then you're like, well, can you guys read some stuff? And the answer is like, they never read enough to make it smooth.
Yeah.
And so like, to me, it's always like, put less demand on everyone and you still have a good time playing your game. And so Shadow Dark embodies that. I mean, it's not the only RPG that does, but that combined with like the kick-ass art, here's some more art for you.
Oh, the art's incredible, dude. I love high contrast, like ink, sketchy shit. That's so cool. Oh, here's more. Yeah.
So like, So I mean, actually, I actually really want the Shadow Dark rulebook. I should look into getting it. But like, it's so
that's so awesome.
Yeah. Like, what do I want to play D&D for with their like vibrant colored, like no vibes, vibe check failure stuff? Like, I mean, their artists are talented. I'm not trying to cast shade, but like the overall aesthetic and approach of the product is like really missing the mark of like that feel of like you're descending into danger from which there's no escape. But like imagine like you've got to fight that thing.
Yeah, that spider, dude. Like spiders and all. I figured that'd be a good one to blow up.
Like that's so psycho and cool. And it's like, do I see anything cool as this out of a modern edition D&D? No. Like they've lost all their riz, as the kids say.
Yeah.
And while the Shadow Dark book is like maximum yet.
Darkest dungeon, like this guy.
The human mind, fragile, like a robin's egg.
Yeah, it reminds me of what those guys were aiming for. That vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write that down. By the way, I want to buy that Shadow Dark rulebook.
Rest that guy's soul, I guess.
So cool.
All right. One final.
Anyways, that's all that to say. Rip and pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
Rip and pepperoni.
I don't know why that made me laugh. One final note on some PC gaming stats. It's been revealed that only 15% of all Steam users' time was spent playing games released in 2024. That seems bad. There are.
I mean, it's bad for business. Let's say if your business is getting people to sell new products, but that's been our experience in this show. Like, a game comes out and I'm not playing it immediately for the most part, but I do eventually get to it. Like, I'll get to Space Marine 2, but not in 2024.
Or also 908 million of us Steam users now. It's a lot.
Yeah, apparently Steam usage outpaces console usage at 600.
Yeah, that's
the estimation for console usage is 653 million, and in 2024, and for PC gamers on Steam is 907 million. And so
wild.
So people are transitioning, and like I think it makes sense. I don't think I'm the only person that's like, why is my console plays the same games as a PC, but worse. Why am I doing this? So,
yeah, why am I playing on it? I mean, I'll admit, I like a good dedicated console. I'm a fan of the nostalgia surrounding getting a box and having it under the TV. All those things are true. But
I agree.
I barely touch any of them now. And it bums me out a little because they like this PS5 just staring at me, Series X over there just looking at me going, hey, what about us? And I'm just like, well...
I mean, there was an era where a long era where the argument for a console was like, you might sacrifice like a catalog. There's certain games that wouldn't be on PC that would be on console, but like you would get guaranteed good performance from the games like NES, Super Nintendo, even GameCube. Like for many eras, that was the case. It seems like maybe the last one or two generations that shifted.
Yeah.
Where you can get the same catalogs for the most part. Maybe Nintendo accepted on both. And one performs better.
Yeah.
And people have like crazy ass TVs, and like you can just buy a PC and get yourself a 8-bit do and just play on your TV as well. Like use Steam Big Picture even if you like there's a lot of options that just outpace the console, and it's always like it's sort of up to the console manufacturers to make the case that they're the better choice, not out of pity. And I think that's what the Netflixification that of the video game libraries was meant to do. But I think that's where we're at right now. I don't know how console manufacturers climb out of this hole that they're in.
Yeah, it does seem tricky
to get ahead of PCs.
I have a quick recommendation. Speaking of which, you mentioned 8-bit do. I talked about it pre-show a little bit, but I picked this one up here recently. It's the 8-bit do Ultimate C. It's a wired controller, which I'm a big fan of on PC. I don't like wireless controllers on PC. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I know the latency is not that bad. I just rather plug it in.
I haven't had a problem with it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of where I do it. Anyway, these have those what they call them, Hall effect joysticks, which means no drift ever. Really happy with it, and I only paid $29 for it. It's back up to $35. It was on sale, but even at $35, that's insane. That price, and they give you, I want to say, 3 months of free Game Pass with it. So they have an arrangement with Xbox on it. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
35. That's actually kind of wow.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And like I said, I only paid. Got LEDs on the sticks, pretty cool. I got this orange one. You can get it in this black or this kind of green. This is their latest version of their C series, and I'm absolutely freaking loving this thing. So
what's the difference between the C series and just the 2? Because I have an order. I think I'm getting mine tomorrow for an 8-bit do Ultimate 2.
Let's take a look here.
The reason I went with that one was just because I like the cradle, like the charging cradles, and I had a charging cradle. And people in chat were saying it's recommending it highly.
Yeah, so these also have the Hall effect stuff. I think the only difference here is this is wireless by default. You can plug it into
wireless, and it has like the extra trigger. On each side,
and comes with. I guess it comes with. I didn't know it came with a charger. That's a pretty good deal.
I got so used to. I love cradling. Sounds weird.
Yeah,
I love cradling chargers. Like for my Oculus, it just sits. It charges whenever I pick it up. It's full charge, ready to blast. And now with my controller, it's always ready to blast when I had my Mamba. I guess we can just talk about this now, even though I put in the stuff I play. But like we talked about pre-show, but I feel the Mamba story is important to share with everyone on the regular show. I blew the shit out of my X button, destroyed the membrane underneath, and it was just stuck. So I had to order a controller replacement. So I ordered an Easy SMX X15. You could maybe look up also as well. But then the core chat was like, man, I love my 8-bit do. And then I was kind of having second thoughts. So I ordered a second controller. So I got 2 of them on the way now.
Damn.
But, I figured it's good for core. I can give my opinions on the 2 controllers I purchased. Combined, almost as expensive as the one controller I broke. So I didn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
Get it? Like you said, your controller was $30. I'm like, it's a pretty good price for quick replacement. So
especially when the official ones from either Sony or Microsoft are closer to 70, it's like, why? And these are all reviewed well, tested well, and those don't have, like, Sony doesn't have Hall effect sticks. I don't think the latest Microsoft ones do either. So there's just so many cool alternatives now. Long gone are the 90s when all you had was Mad Catz plastic garbage shit, and then the official ones.
Yeah, no, the quality. I took mine apart because I wanted to confirm how I broke it, and just looking at all the parts in there, like obviously I can't evaluate. This wafer is really amazing, but it seemed like quality construction. I had to take a lot of screws out and look at, and there's like all kinds of I'm just like, wow, what is all this? Like, it's
hell of a wafer they got in there. Yeah.
Yeah, what a wafer. But I will say, I also want to give props to my Xbox 360 controller, because someone else was talking about their 360 controller. As a backup, it still works amazing. I've had that thing for 20 years. I think when I die, I want that thing buried with me. It's just It's just been with me my whole life.
They don't. They're some of the most versatile devices ever built. I don't know what. Not by I don't mean versatile. They just are
durable.
Durable.
It's just,
they don't break.
Messed up. Like,
yeah.
The buttons are not the best. I'm getting a new controller because I like the feedback on the other ones, but I don't think they were ever that amazing to begin with. But just old reliable. You know, it's like it's just it won't die. It'll always run.
Yeah,
just
big fan.
You know, man's best friend. And so
those are great. The only complaint I have about them is, you know, old connectors, and you know, it's just some of the interface standards have all changed, but the device itself is
mine's
a hell of a
Bluetooth
thing.
wireless.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, so back in the day,
you have to have a dongle or something, right?
It's not technically a 360. It was just that era. It's a Windows Live.
Oh, it's made for
controller.
PC. Okay.
So I have it comes with the dongle. You plug the dongle in, and it works just like any other controller.
Right.
The only thing is it take batteries.
Yeah.
But I have everything I have now. My life is now everything charges.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I need batteries for in my life.
Even the things I have batteries for, I use rechargeable Panasonic batteries for.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Pretty much the same.
So, but yeah, I got 2 new controllers on the way, and I'll look forward to talking about them more.
Sweet. We'll play
more.
more.
How did this come up?
Oh, we were just talking about how I don't know how it came up.
Everyone's playing not games from 2024.
Oh, that's what it is. People are playing old games. We kind of suspected this, but
I mean, this news though, that like, what are they? Sorry,
15%,
67% of games were spent more than year. This has to have an effect, maybe on. I think that's a big number of people that could be buying a game this year, and it doesn't mean they aren't. We certainly did, but still.
You think this helps explain these layoffs?
I just think things grind to a halt every year. That backlog gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
and that just means when you sit down to play a game. And you're like, do I need to spend $80 this week? Like, no, I got like 500 games to play. Like, it's cool. You know, it just, and every year this goes on, it probably makes it harder and harder.
Yeah. I think some of these layoffs are preemptive, because when you see stalled sales on new stuff and you're making very expensive new stuff, you probably are in trouble, you know, because your game may be great and people may play it, but they're not going to play it for another year, statistically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
one
weird.
stat I want to see a study over Steam in like a bigger way.
Yeah.
Is like people who complete games that have completionism in them. Like, I'm constantly shocked by how many people buy games who don't finish them. You know, when I look at like Final Fantasy Rebirth, only 17% of the people who bought it have finished it.
Yeah.
Like according to like, you know, and I think that's like that trends across all games. Of course, it's not going to be 100%. But isn't it like if you're sitting there making games and you're like, I'm working really hard on this narrative and this great finish, and you're like, only 17% of people are going to see this?
Oh, yeah. Not only that,
why wouldn't
you have people who demand those game lengths and say, I'm not spending 70 on anything less. And those same people are not finishing those games.
But they're not seeing the content. So it's like, why work on stuff that nobody's going to enjoy?
Or a very small percentage will.
There's a part of it that's like where the games are probably like really front loaded to have like the maximum coolness up front.
Yeah.
And then be increasingly shit as the game goes on, because why would we put a lot of effort into the end? That's obviously not true of a lot of games, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I think if you're looking at this trend, it's like, what's going to sell a game? Well, people are going to play the first hour of it and then recommend it to people. So we just got to make that first couple hours really good.
And you can see why these companies all chase live service stuff. They want to be the next Fortnite. Well, why? Well, because Fortnite transcends the percentages and is one of the older games people go to and play all the time. It's in that list, in fact. So,
I mean, like, we rag on Scott for not finishing games, but like, Scott is you were reflective of the overwhelming majority of how people play games. And it's not like any of us are better. I own 700 games. I haven't, I'm part of this statistic. Like, so it's just, I don't know. It's just strange. I just find it a strange thing that we have these games. Like, imagine that was true of movies, right? Like, Warner Brothers was like, man, only like 10% of the people got to the end of what's the Warner Brothers movie? Got to the end of Barton Fink or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if that's Warner Brothers, but
I don't know either.
You know what I mean? It's
pulled
like,
that
man,
out of nowhere.
only 10% of people saw the end. Like, maybe we should make our movie shorter. Like, I don't even know if they have stats. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But they're kind of similar products when you're talking about these narrative experiences.
Well, a better comparison.
People buy the game and don't enjoy the experience in its fullness.
A better comparison might be streamed shows that are dropped all at once. Netflix and whoever else does all at once binge stuff. How many people get to all 10 episodes? How many people only make it 4 in or 5 in or
that's a good
or whatever? Maybe those are better comparisons because movies are usually 90 minutes, sometimes more than 2 hours, and the commitment is low.
It's possible to not finish a movie to be like, this sucks and bail out, but it's very rare. Right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, just different
kind of just like, well, this movie was shit. I finished it. Whatever. We had a good time. Tried another movie after.
Yeah. There's something to that. I think. I think
maybe shows are a good comparator.
Yeah, it's a good question though. I think we're going to get some feedback on that. I'd like to hear it. If you guys want to send in your thoughts, your comments, your feelings, you can do it at voicecast.app/core. Speaking of which, there's no transition there. I'm just going to take a break. We're going to take a break and go pee. That's what's going to happen now. So when we get back, we'll talk about the games we played this week. We'll talk about a couple other things. Got some calls from you guys, some other fun feedback. So stick around. We'll be right back. And we're back, everybody. Welcome back from the break. We are here to bring you more. Yes, more. Not less, but more. Before we go any further, though, and talk about the games we played this week, I would like to play a This Just In voicemail from one John Jagger from The Road. Okay? And I don't mean from the movie The Road. Yeah, I mean like he's on the road. And you can tell because he's in his car. But he called the 10 Hams line at 10hams.com and left this message. So I haven't checked it. I don't know what he says, Beau. We're just going to wing it and see what he has to say. I know.
Let's do it.
I'm a little nervous.
John,
I'm a little nervous. Here you go.
Hi, everybody. John here, live from Seaworld. Sorry I can't be on the show again 2 weeks in a row, but I wanted to check in and say hey to everybody. I just saw some orcas in a show, or killer whales if you're going to be a butt about it. I mean, it's kind of a mean moniker, right? You don't want to do that. But I have a couple minutes while everybody's shopping, so I got to squeeze 2 weeks of core into one voicemail message. So here it goes. I don't know what the news was, so let's just assume I didn't have an opinion on it, which is unlikely, but possible. The only game I really played was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I beat it. It's awesome. It would have been number 2 on my game of the year last year, just under Metaphor. So take that for what it is. And this week I didn't do anything because I'm on vacation. I brought my Steam Deck with me, but I haven't touched it. It's not even charged. I hope everybody's doing well. Whale. There's a pun for y'all. That's free, thrown in. I saw last week Scott put a poop on my head. Hopefully they're being more respectful today. And I know Beau was the cause of that. Scott did it, but Beau enabled him. We all know it's true.
Yeah.
And let's see. It's a minute and 30 seconds so far, this message, which is probably the shortest I've ever talked about anything on the show. So I hope you all have a fantastic show. Whatever you're talking about, Scott's probably right, Beau's probably wrong, but if you want the real opinion and the truth behind it, come back next week when I'll be back. Till then, I'll see y'all later. Bye now.
He sounds better, too. Sounds like he's over.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't sound sick for a change. Hey, maybe some sunlight.
Yeah.
Some good.
Sometimes.
Great Foley work on that call, by the way. We always talk about the Foley work.
Oh, it's excellent.
I heard a bird tweeting and all that kind of stuff. So thumbs up on the Foley work.
Yeah, I thought he was in his car, but it was actually at the stadium thing there watching killer whales, and I think that was his son squealing at the beginning right here. I think that's him. Yeah, going. That's basically John at age 2, just screaming.
Micro John,
John Jr. All right, let's talk about games we played, because why not? I say. I played a game I am in love with. I forgot to put video in here for it, but I'm going to go ahead and do that really fast because it is worth seeing. As you know, Beau, there's a Steam spring sale. It's hard to say fast.
Ooh.
And
spring sale.
Lots of good deals. Last week, you and I talked about some of the ones I picked up with my $150 expenditure that day. And one of them was this game I've had my eye on for a while called Shotgun King, The Final Checkmate. Now, you might say to yourself, is this chess related? And the answer to that is yes, it is. But not in the way you think. So basically there's a story that essentially it boils down to this. You are a rogue king hell-bent on stopping the usurpation of your kingdom. And you're going to do that by yourself with a shotgun, turn-based style, on a chessboard. And all the chess pieces that you go up against, like these white pieces you see in this video, are behaving like chess pieces do. You do too. You can only move one space at a time unless you get an ability to change that. And you can get an ability to change that. But your goal is to take out the other king on the board and do so with your shotgun. Your shotgun has so many bullets. To reload, you need to move a space. If you find yourself stuck where a queen could go, or you are otherwise like checkmated or something, you're going to die and have to start over. It's got roguelike elements. You choose abilities between killings, and those abilities have strengths and weaknesses. So one might give you +6 ammo, like this one he just chose, but the other team gets an extra horse or a knight on the board. As you can see right here, there's 3 knights. And that's the price you pay for picking the ability you chose, which was to give you more ammo. You get usually 2 shotgun shells per reload. Sometimes you get more because, again, you chose a perk that it's all perks and stuff. So, think of roguelike elements. That's what the game employs here. The things like under 100 megabytes, it plays wonderfully on controller and Steam Deck, as well as just straight on Steam using a keyboard. It also runs on Mac. And I've been playing at all those places because I'm completely addicted to this effing thing. At the end of the day, it isn't just like this cute little play on chess. There's chess stuff in there, but even if you hate chess or are not good at chess, it's okay because the game doesn't punish you for not understanding chess so much as it does just how good of a tactician are you. And so your goal is to move around this board and not get killed. It is turn-based. So everything takes a turn. You can tell when it shakes, that's right before their turn's about to be taken. Okay. And when you kill the king, this guy's being very methodical and killing everything then the king. That's a better score, I guess. But if you kill the king, everything else dies automatically. So one of the strategies is just take out the king. Yeah, just kill the king and the game's over. Then you go to the next match. They get harder and harder and harder. You get more and more perks with both a positive and a negative effect. And you keep moving. You can have builds based on those effects. You try to get I'm explaining roguelikes to people. People know how they work. It's, perks are perks. So there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek here in terms of the premise, but underneath that premise is a very deep turn-based strategy game that plays off chess stuff in a really fun way. And like, for example, see this, there's a river in the board. So that horse is stuck in the water for an extra turn. Those horses too now, they're like bobbing in it.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of your perks. Yeah, it slows them down. There's lots of stuff like that. There's ways to power up certain squares. So when you stand in them, you get more range or more power out of your gun. Most point blank shots on most pieces will destroy them unless they're otherwise empowered. The king has extra hit points, so you're not going to kill him in one shot. So you have to think about that. It will also it'll give you a couple of chances when you go to move if it knows you're going to get killed in that space, it will warn you. But after you've been given your couple of warnings, if you move to a space where you're going to die, you're just going to die. It's addicting as all hell. I haven't been able to put it down.
Addicting?
It's addicting. It's very addicting.
It's addicting as all hell.
Yeah. You get really dicked.
One way to put it.
It is super, super fun. Cool. Do you see how this knight card's over to the right there?
Yeah.
You hold some of those in reserve. They're called souls. And basically, you can use them at any time you want. So if you're in a position where you're like, you know what, I need to move like a knight. I need the L move. The way a knight moves on a chessboard, you can take that card, activate it, and now your king will move in an L pattern, like a knight.
So you only can move like a king, which is one square at a time,
right? But you can get queen, bishop, all kinds of those moves by those soul cards, And those you just get, either through perks or you
part of it's also dodge. Like if an enemy piece can't move, like I just saw him move out of the way of a bishop, so he couldn't shoot the bishop, but he just got out of the way from a lane of attack.
Correct.
That a bishop would have.
Correct. Exactly. And there's lots of I've died many times of just getting suckered into a regular chess corner of like, oh shit, I just checkmated myself or whatever. And restarting the game is just such a piece of cake. It doesn't take a bunch of menus or trouble. You just get in.
It doesn't show you where the guys will move. You have to intuit that.
You have to intuit it, exactly. And if you're going to go to a space where, let's say, the knights could land either way, it will warn you to not do that a couple of times, and then you're screwed if you make that decision on your own. In fact, he may be screwed right here. Let's see. Nope, he's screwed. Okay, so this is how he does it. He gets the Knight Soul, and now he can move somewhere where nothing can reach him. Otherwise, all his king moves there were checkmated. So for those just listening at home, we're watching some of this happen in front of us here. But it's interesting. This guy's he's being a lot more slow about it, which is probably why I die more. He's paying more attention than I am. I'm whipping through some of these.
Not an action game, although if you're good at it, I guess you can play fast.
You can play pretty fast, yeah. And I usually go right for the king and avoid other pieces where possible, especially pawns, because they can only move forward or diagonal and kill you. So once they're ahead of me, they don't matter, except they can bring pieces back when they get to the bottom. But by then, I've got the king cornered usually, a couple of shots, and he's dead. And I move on to the next one. And I love it. I think this is a wonderful concept. It's overwhelmingly positively reviewed on Steam. They came out last year, I think. And I can't recommend it enough for turn-based fans.
Release date is 2022.
Oh, geez. Even older than that? Jeez. I don't know how this missed my radar. It's so up my alley. The turn-based gameplay I love already. That was a no-brainer. I like chess by default, and I like when, Baldur is a good example of this. You take an existing thing and you mess with the formula to make it a different kind of game. I like that, and that's what they're doing here. And you're a king with a shotgun.
Cool. Looks neat.
You're basically John Wick of the chess world.
Do you have limited ammo? Is that what that ammo thing is?
Yeah. So he's at a part of the game where he's got quite a bit. You start with less. But yeah, so right now he's got none in the chamber. He has to move to reload, but all those bullets below, those are all possible bullets to reload. So see how they just reloaded and then minused them from the bottom. You also have shields you can earn.
I see.
So there's a bunch of strategy that isn't just simply move, shoot, and die. There's tons going on here. And again, the perk system adds to that as well. And you have all this room for different perks. I've yet to beat the game. Once I do, I get endless mode and some other couple of modes. So there's actually a lot of stuff here. And it was on sale on Steam for cheap. I want to say $7, $5, something like that. I think it still is because it's the same sale. So anyway, this is a big thumbs up for me, especially if you're not really feeling the big, heavy experiences right now. You'd rather just have some good video game distraction. Shotgun King, the final checkmate might just be yours. So go check it out. All right. I played another one that's also kind of like this. I don't know if you've heard of it. Maybe you have. It's called Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers.
I think, I've seen this one pop up on my feed.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find some gameplay here. I forgot to pull up all my videos this time. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay. So the concept of this game, pretty simple. In fact, some people are going to say, well, wait, is this just like a take on the Baldur thing? They're piling on, copying that idea. And I would say no. After playing it, they really aren't the same game at all. There are
the timing might also be they were working on it concurrently.
Yeah, that happens. It's your Armageddon and Deep Impact kind of problem, right? Your two movies.
A lot of indie developers are doing the high. Yeah, they came out within months of each other. There's no way.
Yeah.
2024 for Baldur, August 2024.
Yeah, they're really close.
They make it in 6 months? Probably not.
Probably not. But it's a really.
So this is the Yogscast, and they already made Aces and Adventures, which is also playing.
Yeah, they published it, so they're not
published it.
But, they're not the devs, but they're now a publishing group. But basically, the game is blackjack, not poker. That's fundamentally different, obviously, very different game to play with your playing cards. But you're also you do have things like, oh, this card affects other cards in some special way. that part is Balaltro like, but whereas Balaltro is all about maximizing.
I'm seeing a 21 of hearts.
Yeah, there is a 21 of hearts card if you can find it. That thing's both good and terrible, because if you have it and you play it as the first card, you've won that round. You're done. Mm-hmm. If you play it on top of a 3, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah, so you're hosed. But there are cards that will let you minus some numbers. There are cards that will give you a 23 possibility instead of 21. And there's some that will give your opponent only 19, so he has to try to stay under that. The strategy of the game comes in a few different ways. Some of the modifiers, but a lot of it is, let's say I'm at 16, he's at 18, and if I hit, I know I'm not going to get a low card. My luck's that bad. And if I do that, he'll hit me for all 18 points. So what I do instead is I stand at 16, then his 18 only hits me for the difference. So I only use 2 health points instead of all 18. So you want to, standard 21 like you would a proper game of blackjack, but you have all these other abilities and methods to kind of change the game up. That's very Balaltro-like. But it's not like, it's not one for one. It's like not even close. Look at that weird thing flipping around. That red card, like that's a real card. That thing losing its mind over there.
Okay. I'm not seeing it.
It covered it up. Anyway, really good. It's exactly what you think it is. It's very straightforward. There's nothing crazy about it. Like there's nothing about it where I'd go, and you won't believe this twist. It's not really like that.
Looks like crazy blackjack with sci-fi, or not the fantasy themes. Like you get tarot cards. Like it's just
and then some of it's just goofy. It's like blackjack. It's a 3.5 inch lined card like you'd buy at Walmart. That's in there for some reason, or an SD card.
I saw they have a Black Lotus, but they call it Dark Flower, but it's like a Magic the Gathering reference.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of inside jokes and stuff. They do a little humor. This little SD card, which would not be in a fantasy tavern for some reason, is there, and that'll do something. I don't remember what. Look, this is a Sony memory card for a PS1. They call it a phony.
Right.
So there's a lot of that kind of thing, and they all have these different abilities and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just basically augmented blackjack, and I really am having a good time with it. In fact, it's perfect if you're just sort of like, you're not in the mood for the math part that is Balaltro, because that game, if you really want to get good at it, you kind of need to be like doing some math all the time. Like going, all right, well, it's going to triple that. But if I do that, then and it's a 3, then it's going to 4 times though. Like you're always thinking math-like in Balaltro, and this game, it's more like, well, I don't want to go over 21, and I got some goofy shit to piss off my opponent. It's a little bit lighter in that regard. But it's all, great pixel art.
That's the interesting thing about using blackjack, I guess, of all games, because blackjack's like, one of the notorious beatable game, but count cards and get thrown out of the casino games, right? Like so many movies have been made and stories about super geniuses trying to beat the game because it's a game against the house. Not like poker where you play other players and try to beat them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure what they call it basic strategy. Basically, like every combination of blackjack cards you would get, there's an optimal move, I guess, based on basic strategy. And I think the count carding part is where you plus minus things. Right. Anyways, I've it's been a subject of interest I've looked into. So I wonder how much of that throws out like basic strategy out the window, or if the game is better because basic strategy. Like
I think it's a little bit of that is that was the word I'm looking for. What modifies that? Like let's say somebody who's a good card counter and they can just kill it at a table in Vegas on 21. This game will not let them be that person, because this game means you got a weird ass throbbing yellow card in your pack that says -11 to whatever your opponent's doing right now. And now your opponent's like, well, shit. Now I don't know what's in my deck because or it converts one of my cards to something I can't see yet because I haven't dealt it. Like there's all these tricks in the system that would never work in a physical game. I mean, maybe it could, but it'd be a pain. And it's doing it video game style. And so there's no way to really maximize the jack.
It's probably not doing that, because I noticed the cards have rips and tears on them too, which is like,
Oh yeah.
You know, that's a card counting thing, right? You put a little scratch in a little notch in a card, and
Yeah,
you know,
they're all banged up like that.
Obviously, I'm not seeing a shoe, so it's like probably you don't even know how many cards. Like, probably not a thing in this game. It's probably just meant to be casual, good time, and don't try that hard.
Yeah, you don't
But
have to think
I
too hard
wonder
about
to
it.
what extent the people who made it, you know, understand blackjack at that level and are targeting that level of strategy, or just making it silly. So.
It's a great question. One of the biggest pissers here. Oh, one of the things I like is they have to. The opponent has a number they have to stand at, meaning, you know, no more hits, and it tells you what that is. So where it says has stood on the right side there right now, that probably said something like will stand at 16. And anytime they hit 16 or greater, they're going to stand regardless. If it's lower than 16, they could still hit. That's a real advantage for you because you might be at 8 or 9 and going, well, I'm going to take some risks here. They've already stood. So if I pull a 5 or a 6, I'm definitely going to get them. If I go over, then they're going to hit me for 18 points here. Like there's that part of it. And that's very straightforward 21 math, right? Like it's just not complicated.
Seems like you play cards from your hand as well.
You do. So in your hand, you keep it the reserve in that little hand, and there's like a little reserve space for a card that you can play. That it's not even a card; it's more like an ability, and it's usually a one-off. You just burn it. So it's like I'm trying to think one. Burn. I know what it is. Burn the top card that they've laid down or something, and then your card will leave your hand and go burn his card. It'll animate flames and then be gone, and that'll be the end of that thing in your hand. And if you don't have anything in your hand just won't show up. You won't see the little thumb down there. But if you could have 2 or 3 items in your hand and pull them out anytime you want. So think of them as like special abilities that, you know, ultimates you can fire off when you need them or whatever, and you can keep them between games and stuff. Some of them. There's a lot there. And they've done a really interesting job.
It's like roguelike, right? Like you beat a series of opponents, it looks like.
Yeah.
And
yep, very much a roguelike.
You're doing hit point damage and then getting new cards and unlocking.
Yeah. And it's the other thing that's like Baldur, which is you're constantly unlocking new stuff. You had a bad run, but you unlocked a new card, and now you're going back to another run. It's that whole vibe. Okay. So yeah, these are 2 this week, two roguelikes in a row that are very roguelike-ish. And this one, again, is called Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers, and I think it's pretty great and is a great addition. Even if you're loving Baldur and you just need a little bit of a different game to play, I think this one is a real strong contender. So give that one a shot. And then I went all the way back to the year, probably, if I had to guess, 2008 or 9. I don't know when this came out for PlayStation, but the PlayStation 3 had a pretty good run back in the day of indie titles. It was one of my favorite things about the consoles. Sony seemed very interested in bringing stuff like Journey and, many just kind of weird, different kinds of experiences to the console. And I felt like Microsoft had kind of missed that boat. They did have their live arcade stuff, but it was a little more hit and miss. The weirdness of Flower and... I'm trying to think of all the ones. I can't think of them all in my head, but they had a lot of weird different stuff over there, and I really liked that about PlayStation in that era. And around that time, they released a game called Pixeljunk Shooter from the Pixeljunk people, who prior to that made a tower defense game called Pixeljunk Monsters. I didn't like that game because I don't like tower defense, but Pixeljunk Shooter, both 1 and 2, were probably made for me. I love those games so freaking much. Here's all you have to do, Beau. You could say to me, hey, Scott, I'm working on a game. It involves caves and a little ship you have to thrust around in those caves, save people, shoot shit, and try to find your way out. That's all you'd have to say to me, and I would be so interested in your game. I don't know what my thing is with this. I don't even know what genre to call it, but think like everything from Lunar Lander to, what was this?
So it's a twin stick shooter, but also an adventure game.
It's also kind of an adventure game in that you got to solve puzzles, get out of there. There's also some physics going on, elemental physics, like fire burns this, water puts out fire, kind of rock, paper, scissors element stuff. If I can get it up here, I'll show you guys. Here we go. So this version of the game, here we go. The version I got is the ultimate version, which is on Steam and has been since 2015, and I had no idea. Had I known Steam had this game, I would have bought it
You would have bought it
forever ago because I love these games. I beat them both multiple times, and I'm ready to do it again. It was on sale for $1.99. This combo, Steam Deck ready.
There's a billion Pixeljunk games. I've never even heard of the franchise.
Yeah, they're just the developers called Pixeljunk, and they name all their games after their name, which is a little bit weird. What we're actually looking at here is this is Pixeljunk Shooter, the original. What I'm trying to find is Ultimate. There it is.
Like there's one called Pixeljunk Scrappers that's got like 6 user reviews that came out in 2023, and I'm like, nobody played this game? Is it not good?
I played it on PlayStation.
Scrappers?
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good game. I don't have the kind of feelings for it that I do Shooter, but Shooter is just this amazing combination of cavern, float about, solve stuff, find all the guys, save as many as I can, try not to kill them, lava pits, dumping water in the lava at the right moment, doing the right puzzle movements. You can kind of see it here, getting the extra gems, saving these 2 idiots down at the bottom. Now they're saved. Get the F out of there. It's so good, dude. I missed it so much, and I had no idea quite how much I missed it. I will fully admit this may be a me thing at the right time, because for whatever reason, that's just grabbed me back then, never let go, and I just revere it as a series. I wish they would have kept going with it, but they didn't. Say there's some fire. You get in that fire, you're dead. You even have too much heat by being near the fire.
Is there any spiritual successors to this game, or is it like one of those one-of-a-kind things that's it? Like
It feels it's
more like this, and
this feels like a game that was inspired by a lot of other games before it, but no one's really come and tried to duplicate what they did here. I don't think anyone's nailed it. And if they have, I don't know what it is. Oh, he almost got that guy killed. Holy shit.
Okay, so it's funny, not to distract from the game you're bringing, but the More Like This had this game they linked called Star of Providence. Can you check that one out?
Star of Providence. Hold on, I'll look it up. Star of Providence. Top-down action shooter game, procedurally generated elements. Oh, wait, didn't I? Oh, I also have this.
You played this before?
I played this week. In fact, I didn't put it in the list because I'm not super far in it, but it's also awesome and super cheap right now, or it was on sale. It's now back to 14,
it's $20 now, but like still, it kind of looks sick. I was just like, oh, like Pixeljunk looks sick too. Don't get me wrong, but
no, this game's great.
A little bullet hell thing. Like, what is this?
Yeah, kind of like Zelda dungeons, but bullet hell rooms. And then when you solve them, you get to do a boss. And then if you beat the boss, you keep going. Again, more roguelike shit. There's a hacking element. That's a really cool game. You know what? Bonus game today, Star of Providence. I just am not that far that I thought I could talk too much about it, but it's very, very good. It turns out it's a 2017 game, and I think I've had it since then. First time I played it was this week because I'm a dipshit.
Well, yeah.
I got in the mood. I was like, what's some old games?
We've been talking about that. We have like a psychotic amount of video games in our libraries that we just don't get to.
It's insane. This game also highly reviewed, and I just thought, well, I have it. Let me play it. It's awesome. That game is also awesome. Nothing but good games this week for me. I really loved what I played, and part of it was because I was getting a very specific itch for a kind of game experience, and all three of these, one gave me a very nostalgic, strategic one that I've just missed.
Right.
And
I guess the other one, you've talked about this one. The other one in that genre is Mini Shoot Adventures. Oh
yeah, that's the other. That one's also good. That one's very Zelda. Like it's more adventure than ship, whereas this is more ship than adventure, I think.
But it's like in that genre. Like there's this micro genre of spaceship twin stick shooter / adventure game.
Yeah. And I'm whatever that is, big fan. Whatever it's called. I don't know what the name is, but
should play one of these. They all
they're so much fun, dude.
They all look good to me. I'm like,
I don't know what it is.
I never pulled the trigger on them, probably for the same reason why it took you a decade to play the one you bought. But,
yeah,
they do look appealing. They are like, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah, there's just something about them. I don't know what it is. They're even got fun stories, but you don't have to think about them too much. It's just like go do the thing.
But usually, like with the simplicity of like just like the bitmaps they're using for the creep and the means that they layer it on when it comes to like flashing and laser lights and that's an appealing thing. Like I love flashing lights and
there's something there for sure. So I'll add it to the list and give you a bonus game today, Star of Providence. So again, those games are Shotgun King, The Final Checkmate, Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers, Pixeljunk Shooter 1 and 2 Ultimate, and Star of Providence. It's so funny you brought that up.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if they had spiritual successors, and I'm like, those are there's like Cuphead. I'm like, that can't be right.
No.
Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, but that one jumped out to me, and then when I clicked it, I immediately responded to the trailer, being like, "Wow, this looks cool."
It is cool. It's very cool. It's like 8-bit looking, but clearly runs better than it would if it was 8-bit. It's neat. Star of Providence is neat. I just part of this is me going through old games, and part of this was me looking for very specific kinds of experiences this week, and had a great time. All right, let's get over to Beau and his FF7 remake hard mode challenges.
Yeah.
I hear that's
I don't
hard.
got that much to talk about this week. I continued playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I kind of wanted to just play the game more, even though I was finished it, and there's a hard mode. And as it turns out, the hard mode's kind of psycho hard. It's not just deeper health pools. You cap out at level 70, and then the challenge is to get the right kind of materia. Like, it's kind of this materia puzzle at the end of the day. But also you need to level up your materia and get your folios. There is some progression still to do. So I've been slowly going through it. I finished all the mini games and S-tiered everything.
Jeez.
Including the 3D brawler battle with Sephiroth, which is just, oh my god, it's so torturous. But when you're so close to like 100%ing the game, I'm like, I can't just leave this one hill unclimbed, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically, it involves, they punch at you and you've got to get the right input to block the punch.
Yeah.
But Sephiroth does like 6 attacks and then a combo attack. So you have to dodge 10 times before you get a chance to do damage to him. And you basically, if you get hit 3 times, it's failure. But you have to hit him like 6 times. So it just was an epic challenge. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. I think it was over 3 days I would put in attempts and get better and better at it. And you can't, it is too tedious to use John's trick method with that, to press pause to see where it's going, because there's just so many hits. You'll be pressing pause so much. It just takes forever.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just got good. But I did it. I did the Sephiroth 3D battle. It was insane. And right now there's these Chadley legendary things. I've done almost all of the group ones. The last one is complete torture. It's 2 summons at a time and 5 combats.
Yeah.
And like, you do that to get the Gilgamesh summon already, but you get to heal up between bouts.
Yeah.
But in this one, you got to do 5 bouts fighting these summons in a row, and I've gotten as far as the 3rd match, and it's just tough.
It sounds,
but it's
really,
like fun.
really hard.
I broke my controller doing these challenges. But I'm just enjoying it, and like, honestly, probably next week it'll be more Final Fantasy VII, because I kind of want to play remake again. I'm just really into Final Fantasy VII right now. So
to the point that it says here you're doing classic but with mods. Is that true?
Yeah. So I feel like the time is right. The interest is there. I'm going to play the original modded. So I've already downloaded. Hang on. What's the website? So what's beautiful about this is there is just a website you can go to. I think it's hang on, let me,
it's not
it's called Suna Mods, TSUNA mods.com,
like tsunami but shorted and with mod at the end.
Yeah, I think no, maybe that's not the site. I mean, that's right, but there's like an installer. There's just like, it's like a mod manager installer. I don't think it's, oh yeah, it is Suna Mods, I think. No, Suna Mod, Echo S7. Okay, so what you want to go is sunamods.com/echo-s-7. I mean, there's a menu so you can get to it. But basically, you download, I don't know if you've used Mod Manager. I've used Mod Manager extensively for Skyrim VR.
A little bit, yeah. It's good.
So it's like customizable. So when people do these like default package installers, you do it using Mod Manager, and it just makes it easy to grab what you need. You don't need like a Nexus Mods paid account for Skyrim VR because some of the downloads are so big. They throttle downloads unless you pay. But the game is so small and the downloads are so small. It's like you don't worry about that. And the major mods are 60 frames per second, which, you know, just enhances the experience. They have like a mode where you can change the weird blocky models into full resolution dudes, but I tried that, but I didn't like it. So like I'm fine tuning to taste. I'm like, no, I want the blocky models. It's fine. I'm going for something that's very close to playing the original. I just want the increased frame rate.
Yeah.
There's full voice acting through the entire game. So I'm going to put that in. And then the voice acting is not like stellar, but they're pretty good. But you know, you can tell.
Are they AI? Or are they? Oh, they're just people. Okay.
No, they're people. But like, it's like the main characters are decently done, but then you'll get this NPC with a line, and you can tell it's just community source. So it's someone who's clearly not a voice actor. There might even be like a little hiss in the audio sometime. You know what I mean? Like it's
sure,
but it's good enough. It's good enough. It's not as a community grassroots thing. It's enjoyable. I like it.
Yeah.
And I think if I do stream it, it makes for better stream content to have that stuff read than to just have me read it or not. You know what I mean? Like I kind of, for that perspective, I think it's dope. And then there are upgraded. So a lot of the backgrounds in the game are painted. You know, that sort of Resident Evil 2 era of like painted backgrounds. So they have AI enhanced backgrounds that are high resolution, high fidelity, and they look great. Yeah. They're actually well done, and they don't cause a problem. And I'm like, oh man, these are great.
Yeah, they're good. They basically just take the existing stuff and then scale it, refine it
better, and they do that also with the battle backgrounds as well. Make them more, because now you're doing 60 frames, and they make everything more high def, which is definitely great. So I've been in there and I've played a lot of the bombing mission just to get a feel for the mods. So that I'm like comfortable with what my playthrough is going to be, because sometimes you install a mod and you're like, I don't like it. You know, they have improved menus, but I kind of want the classic menus. Like I'm okay with them looking janky. I don't want upgraded menus.
I think it's cool that you can choose, that you get to kind of pick and choose the stuff you want to improve or not.
Yeah,
improve.
And the mods are really good. Like in terms of like having features, like they have settings pages. You can turn stuff you like on and off and all that business. So overall, very cool. So it's not like I've really played the game, but I spent time customizing to taste. And I would like to play that very soon.
Nice.
So I'm going to do that.
Nice.
I actually had a good time. Like for an old game, because we had that question last week, should I play the original? I was like, oh, it's probably too old. But I like booted it up and I kind of got hooked and played longer than I meant to. Where I was like, oh, this game's still pretty fun, actually. Like I really like it.
Yeah,
so
it's still pretty dope. Even there's some technical limitations, but all the game is there. It's good.
Yeah, it's like of the era, but like they still designed a game that was meant to be like enjoyed and that like still shines through. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes with some older games, it's when the control schema is really bad.
Yeah,
and you're like, we've gone farther than this. I can't take the oldness of the control schema. But Final Fantasy games turns out had pretty basic controls like up, down, left, right. A to interact, and then here's a menu for your actions. Like there's, and we know it's not an action game, but that doesn't mean a menu-based game is like. It's not like they've come so far with menu-based games. How can I play this? It's like they're the same.
Yeah.
If you play Final Fantasy 13, it's like the same.
Yeah.
So, probably gonna play that. And I've been playing a bunch of Rebirth, and I want to run through, Remake again and play that. So, I don't know how diverse my gaming when John comes back, you'll get more diversity. I mean, even though we got a lot from Scott,
Said you did some pirate. Did you do more Pirate Yakuza this week? Or?
I have played some Pirate Yakuza finally as well, just to change it up a little bit. I got through Chapter 1 and most of the way through Chapter 2. There hasn't been anything so far in the story that's like, oh my god, I'm hooked yet. But they're still introducing me to shit. So Chapter 2 is where you get into the pirate battles. And it's easy, but it's fun. You have a machine gun on your pirate boat.
Yeah.
And so when you see a boat, you just shoot your machine gun at it. And then when you come up alongside it, you fire your cannons.
Yeah.
Your guys might get a little dispirited. So the one guy I gave him flowers and he felt better.
That's nice. That's
like it's entertaining and funny. There's this one story fight where this pirate Jack the Collector, who you steal his boat because he's a bastard. When you're fighting him for a second time, he's like, "I found this from the chef on the boat," and he throws pepper at you. And so, like, your Majima's like sneezing the entire way through a battle. He's like, "I'm gonna get you," and it's just the funniest shit. I was like, it's just such a small little detail, but they really worked it in.
Yeah.
To and like Matt Mercer does like a phenomenal job. Like he's doing a lot of heavy lifting because Majima has like obviously the most lines.
Yeah,
and his performance is pretty great.
Not since Jesse. What's his new name? Not Jesse McCree. What's his name in Overwatch?
Cassidy
Jones. No, but something.
I don't know. I just know he's called Cassidy, but before he was McCree. And I think it was Jesse McCree, actually.
Yeah, it was based on Jesse, the guy who turned out to be a predator. Anyway, that's good stuff.
So they changed the name, but it's good. It's good stuff. I mean, Matt Mercer's everywhere. Matt Mercer's also Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Damn.
So I cannot get away from Matt Mercer. He's got every job. Not really.
My daughter's watching some anime right now where he's the chief. Oh, it's the one where the chef, he's like a retired hitman, but now he's a chef and he keeps having to kind of come out of retirement a little bit and fight. It's on Netflix. Forgot the name.
Chef anime.
Yeah, it's brand newish.
Really?
Is that it? Yusuke? That might be it.
Chef Hitman anime.
Pretty sure. I think that's him. It's not Troy Baker. I always mix him up.
Sakamoto Days.
I can't remember. It's some Netflix thing. He does the English dub.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean,
they're loving
guy's
that.
Prolific for sure.
I can't remember the name.
He's been a lot of games I've been playing, and it's been good. But
Chat's saying it's not.
He's so good as Vincent Valentine. I mean, I can't wait for. So I'm going to spoil a little spoiler for people, but it's a good thing you kind of want to know ahead of time so that you don't waste your time hoping.
Yeah.
But Vincent Valentine is not a playable character in Rebirth.
Oh.
But there's some hope that he will be in the third one, in Reunion.
Is that the name? I didn't know they had a name yet.
It's definitely going to be the name. It's not been announced, but literally the word Reunion gets used so much in Rebirth that it's like, yeah, it's going to be called Reunion, like clearly.
I mean, I know it's got to be be an R word for sure because it always is.
It's going to be an RE if they keep with the theme. And like, it's not even like that. That's a spoiler because like Reunion's a thing that's mentioned, but it's a prominent feature.
What if it ends up being rent? Let's see. How would you do that? Rent control because that's our rental. Yeah. Rental's not bad. Rental. Final Fantasy
rental.
7 rental.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's not really hitting for me. But I think it's going to be Reunion. If I had to put money on it, my bet is it's Final Fantasy Reunion. So you're here first. Breaking news.
Well, we're about to find out. Is it Sakamoto Days? That might be the name of the anime. Thank you, Chad.
I got it right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, all right. Well, that's what we played. That's what we did. Now, some quick feedback from you.
That's a good question.
We got, let's see, we played the John call. Let me get rid of that. We got a call from Shanafan. Now, I've never heard Shanafan talk before. He's a regular contributor, though. Yeah. I know. It kind of threw me a little bit because I'll be honest, he doesn't sound like he looks, but I'll play it. Here you go.
Hey, Core Podcast. This is Shanafan calling in. Hey, letting Beau know that he mentioned the Time Traveler arcade game on the last Core show. Loved that game as a kid growing up. Did you know you could buy that game on DVD on Amazon or probably eBay and play the game with your DVD remote controls? I hear it's a little delayed, but you know what? It's still playable. You might want to check it out. And I hope John is doing well. Hey, buddy. Bye-bye.
Yeah, he's John's doing good, as you heard earlier. I think he's going to do okay. So, Beau, this was that weird Time Traveler Sega game.
Right.
Talked about last week. I'm showing some video again for people. Yeah, maybe you can play it on DVD. Digital versatile disc, as they used to call it, I believe.
I mean, I need the hologram of it. I mean, I appreciate knowing that it's still accessible, but
Yeah, you need that dude, that cowboy man, to look like he's right there. You
Part of the vibe was going to the museum and seeing this weird machine that had a hologram man in it and going like, oh, I got to put some quarters in that thing,
Yeah. with those four shapes rotating in the back to remind you it's 3D space.
Yeah, so super immersive.
Whoa, look at that girl. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, this is one of those weird things too, where it's like it's oddly terrible for aesthetics, but like it's that era of video games where like it's boys that play video games and they like hot women. Yeah, but they didn't. It's just it's just weird aesthetic. I don't know. It's such a weird
it
thing.
remains one of the oddest things I think ever made it to arcades. It's very, very weird. Yeah. Good job, Sega. You did it. Look at that stupid snake.
But
get out of the way, buddy.
I shot the snake. Wow.
Oh my gosh! If you guys,
one thing, that guy can flip a gun, though. That's for sure.
Oh, he absolutely can. But if you haven't seen it, it's called Sega's Hologram Time Traveler, and you can find it video of it on YouTube. So go track that.
By the way, I know there's more stuff coming, but apparently there's a gaming showcase happening right now.
Oh yeah, I heard there was something going on. It's the PC one, right?
Future Gaming Showcase. Is it PC Gamer or is it just a independent thing? It's on IGN.
Can't
remember. It's its own
remember.
YouTube channel.
There it is. Future Gaming. Okay, so is it Future Publishing doing this?
Like who's behind it? Yeah.
Let's see. Live from GEC.
It doesn't look like it's a PC Gamer thing, but it kind of looks like PC Gamer show,
Yeah. Anything interesting out of it yet, everybody?
Live from GDC. It's a GDC thing, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see. I can pull up some stuff here. Let's see.
Anything cool? Yeah, like they're already 2 hours into the broadcast, so it's not like, we can't scrub through 2 hours to like.
No, but they're showing some stuff here, I guess. Yeah. Looks like some kind of city builder unit. I don't know.
This is, again, hand in fist. Like, we love to watch a gaming show. It's not that. But, like, also, you can miss one of these and we still have a bajillion games to talk about and enjoy. So.
Oh, you know what I mean? You know what? It is Future. It's Future Publishing. They own IGN. They own a bunch of stuff. That's what Future means. They're not talking about just like the Future. It's actual Future Publishing Group. And so it must be their own thing. I don't know if they've ever done this before, but they're there. Look at them all. Look at the two of them going, yeah, baby. I got this duck on my shirt. Got a big old pass to get around this place.
Not a lot of people. Yeah. Oh, PC Gamer is co-streaming it. Okay, there's co-streaming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to have a very big... Seem to be a lot of people watching it right now. So
yeah, we'll scour it for next week. See if there's anything of note.
Painkiller reveal trailer. There's an old game. They're remaking that one.
Painkiller. Holy shit!
Yeah, there's a new Painkiller.
I don't even know what to make of that. It's been a long time since I've seen Painkiller.
Yeah. Looks cool. Actually, I'm like, oh shit.
You know how last week we heard from a German, and I was like, I don't even know if we have German listeners. Well, guess what? Here's another one.
Hey guys, it's Kareem from Germany. On the topic of last week's call, Mike, you asked if Mike is a German name. I guess he's called Michael, which is Michael in German. And your fan base in Germany is quite big, I think. Been that way since the early Frog Pants days in ERB and stuff. Anyways, I wanted to call in to say I love the pre-show. It's so good, and everyone needs to spend that $1 or $2 or whatever to get access. Well, yeah. Love you guys.
Thanks for the promotion there. That was great.
Awesome. Yeah. Jeez.
Look, the Germans know. Germans know what's going on.
We always kind of, I think what it is, we put our stuff that we're like, too hot for TV into the pre-show.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, for sure.
And, that's definitely why it's worth spending the money on Patreon. And that's awesome it's awesome to get confirmation. It's the first I've heard from someone saying they really like it.
Yeah, it was really great. Thank you very much.
Really cool that he's like, yo, dude, there's like way more people in Germany that listen to your show than you realize. Do you have demographics, Scott?
It is true. I do have access to that.
Are we the David Hasselhoff of
I looked it up.
Podcasts?
I looked it up way back in the day. ELR did really well in Germany. I was never sure why. The Instance did really well in Germany. The big WoW base there. People like WoW. But I hadn't really looked at it as of late. So last night I did. And sure enough, I think it's in, let's see, it went America or, the United States, then Canada, then the UK, and then Germany. So that's the order. Okay. And France was after them, and Australia right after them, and there's kind of a list. But yeah, they're high up there, and I just forget. So me going last week, I don't know. We have any real German. That was me being dumb because of course we do. That was just dumb of me.
And we've got because it's always like on the Frog Pants Network now. I'm like the Canada correspondent, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm an expert in it or anything, but it's like this is an international affair, Scott.
That's right.
It's like it's not just an un-American outlet. You've got people from all over the world. You've got Patrick and France, and I don't know. You're not doing a show with him now at this second, but
no, we talk. Patrick and France, I give him shit all the time. He and I are always giving each other
part
shit.
of the crew. So it's like it's an international affair, and it's like, well, I don't live and my family hasn't been in Germany for like hundreds of years because we were here a long time ago. But I am a German ancestor, so maybe.
Sure. You guys skipped right over that.
They're like, oh yeah, Mr. Schwartz. It's like there you go.
You guys skipped right over that big Nazi piece of business.
Yeah, we weren't. Well, yeah, my German side we weren't. My Hungarian side.
Oh, a little. What do they call that? They were.
They left during the Hungarian Revolution in the 50s, maybe later, something like that. Yeah, definitely be later, but yeah.
Germany got hungry, if you know what I mean. Well, anyway,
everyone got parceled out after the World War, and Russia got Hungary.
Oh,
and they weren't super nice to the Hungarians, and that's what they were revolting against was Russian occupation.
Then they lost them again.
And my grandfather was a revolutionary, and was told that the KGB was coming to kill him and my grandma and my aunt and uncle. So they fled in the dead of night over gunfire to Ireland, and then begged U.S. and Canada to immigrate. And Canada said, "Yeah, come on in."
What did we say? Did we say anything to him?
I think it was just whoever responded first. I don't know, but I do have a letter. We do have somewhere a letter from John Diefenbaker approving our.
That's a great name.
Thing. Diefenbaker.
Diefenbaker.
And you know what? During his era, to like avoid like bombing, they built bunkers. Like a lot of places have bunkers.
Yeah.
So there's this big bunker that you could still tour as a museum visit here in Ottawa, but it's called the Diefenbunker. Because it's Diefenbaker that made the Diefenbunker.
The Diefenbunker. That's amazing. What is that origin from, that name? Diefenbunker. Diefenbunker.
Well, the name is Diefenbaker. I don't know what Diefenbaker is as an origin.
Or yeah, Diefenbaker. It sounds like Swedish or something. Could be wrong.
Belgium, maybe. Diefenbaker. Well...
I just can hear him going Diefenbaker, which is not, I'm stereotyping there, but I can hear it in my head. Anyway, look at these kids running a future show. They're being run by Gen Zs.
It's one of the European countries. We are all, both you and I have come from nations of immigrants. So,
look at this though. The Gen Zs are running all the new showcases now. Look at these two. This is some Gen Z shit here going on. They're probably somebody just said skibbity toilet probably in that microphone. Now we're off to
skibbity toilet. Yeah.
Riz. I hate it. All right, stick around to the post show, everybody, because I'm playing some calls that were too long to play in the main show, but I don't want to not play them, so I'm playing them there. So there's more coming.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And if you want to be a part of our phone call and text system, you can do it now at 10hams.com. You can send us text messages or voicemails. You can be anonymous if you want. But hey, if you want to call me out and have a conversation, probably don't do the anonymous thing. I don't have a way to talk to you that way. Again, reiterating what I said earlier in the show. All right. Email me for that, which is talktothecore@gmail.com. Anyway, 10hams.com will get you the voicemail. That'll get you the text, and it'll get you straight here. I also like to thank some brand new patrons of the show. Gino McNew. That's great. McNew is his name because he's new, see?
Yeah, McNew.
That's what it says in there. I assume it's real. Luke Feliciano is also a brand new dude. And Lorelia, also a brand new person, who have joined us and understand the power of the pre-show, the power of the monthly host bonus shows, and the very...
But if you're... Wait. If you're just joining, just know that the penis... the penis stuff?
Yeah, from the anime.
What was the name of the thing? Doomed Megalopolis?
Yeah, Doomed Megalopolis.
Fairly unique, in case you're a little grossed out and you looked it up on Tubi or whatever. Just know. That's not the normal level of discourse. But it's still that good. Just it got a little grody this week, I think.
We went places. And
it was this week.
It was this week. It feels like last week. But you can go with us there too, all right? And be with us for that pre-show. For everybody else who's thinking, man, what about the cool art you send out? That's true, too. Video game related art from me that I don't send anybody else. It only goes to our patrons. So sign up today, patreon.com/core show. Like I said, everything else can be found at the website, frogpants.com/core. That means the 10 hams line. That means all the other info, all the stuff you can't remember that I just said, it's all there. So just go to the website, frogpants.com/core. Beau, anything else before we get out of here? Do we have to do? We don't have to do Grandpa, do we? Again? Do we have to do that again?
No, that's a John thing. Whatever. Here's where we'll do Beau. Look, we played Shotgun King, Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers, Pixeljunk, Ultimate Shooter, Star of Providence, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, and Original, and Pirate Yakuza. Okay, there you go. Game's done.
You did it. That was perfect. All right. Oh, and then don't forget to sneak in
last
there.
post.
Yeah, that's the last post. I like that you called it Pixeljunk 1 and 2 Ultimate Shooter. It's a little mixed up.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I was going fast in the word.
You guys will find it.
As long as I got the words right.
Yeah. I don't feel too
doesn't
bad
matter
about
what
it.
order they go in.
It's totally fine. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big thanks, everybody, for coming to watch us live. For those who did, if you want to watch us live, we do it on Thursdays, 1 p.m. Mountain Time at frogpants.tv. All the deets are on the site. That's going to do it for us. Until next week, have a good one. We'll see you then.
Frog Pants. The F is for fun. The R is for right on. The OG is for oh geez, that was good. And then pants.
Hello, China.